Now, the degree of difficulty of today's show is going to be interesting because not like we need Lucas or Robert to be able to do a good show, but they've left me alone with Ross. And Ross has decided that he's going to dress as a Titans fan for Halloween. He's taken a page out of my book last year. Last year, I wore a Trader Joe's bag on my head and an Oilers jersey with collaboration written across the forehead. Today, Ross, are you even able to speak? Can you see? Are you capable of doing your job with a paper bag over your head with a Titans logo and the words, "We ass," over it?
This is a difficult situation, but we'll find a way. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine.
That's great.
615-737-1045. Justin is back there to assist him, I suppose, while Justin remains here to make sure that Ross doesn't hit the wrong button, because I'm sure that's a likely scenario. Today, I was bullied into wearing a costume to my workout this morning. Our buddy Worth Campbell at TrueMath Fitness said, bring a costume or don't bother showing up. And so I have no costume, but I had, a little bit of authentic Egyptian wear, what's called a galabeon. So I've decided I'm going to be an Arab sheik today. I even brought in the sword of my forefathers here. So Ross, make sure you stay in line before I actually weaponize that thing.
If you can get it out of the sheath.
I can. Nobody else seems to be able to. It's like King Arthur's sword, the sword and the stone, right? It's except if, the difference being, I think in the case of King Arthur, you had to be like pure of heart or something like that. Obviously, that's not the case. If I can do it, nobody else can. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get involved. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch is how you interact with the show. If you would like to live stream us and chime in, chirp in via the F&M Bank chat. Somebody writes, Randy Howard on YouTube says, a raspy-voiced Ross being muffled by a paper bag is interesting. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be terrible radio. But rarely do I rely on Ross for good radio. So, we've just added a bag over his head to try and get through this thing together. Thursday night football last night. I have not checked in on Robert Walsh. I have not done a wellness check. I only know that he was still at least physically with us at the end of the game because of his lovely fiancée, Cheyenne, who was posting stories on Instagram yesterday that did happen to feature a smiling, very squinty-eyed Robert Walsh awaiting Lamar Jackson at the Thursday night Amazon Prime desk because Lamar Jackson came back and threw 4 touchdowns, and I'm sure Robert was delighted by that. So the good news is when he returns to us on Monday, he will at least be in a decent mood. And the good news for the Ravens is that Lamar Jackson is, in fact, back. Now, the Dolphins are stinky. And I don't know if your best 4th and 3 play is a goal line fade, not quite a goal line fade, but a red zone fade to Devon Achane with Kyle Hamilton in coverage. Ross, you are the closest thing to a football player among us. Does that feel like a winning matchup to you?
No, it is not the matchup I would have gone to in that situation. I think it was stupid.
I agree. And Tua instead pulls a Brandon Allen in the preseason. He just throws it away on 4th and 3 because, of course, Devon Achane is being smothered by the giant that is Kyle Hamilton, who's, playing outside linebacker and also safety and also off-ball linebacker for the Ravens because he's 6'4", 225 or something and can do a variety of different things. But Lamar, it looked like he was working off a little rust early on there. And the Dolphins were able to stifle him in the early going. But once he got his vibe back, it was just an avalanche. And once you start to get Derrick Henry rolling that way, there are a few things more fun. And I know Derrick doesn't have the pull-away speed that he used to, where he's now, is he 31 yet? I think he's 31 this month. Can't remember exactly. But seeing Derrick Henry in the open field is still one of my favorite things in football. Still one of my favorite things going in football. Last night we got a couple of moments of that, and the Ravens run away with it, literally and figuratively, 28-6. It's their second straight win after they beat the Bears. They were favored to win their division as soon as it was reported that Lamar Jackson was going to be back, and they beat Chicago, which made no sense. 3-5. Now are the Baltimore Ravens. Not in first place in the AFC North, but looking like they have still the best team in a division that's suspect. We'll get into some games throughout the course of today. We've got Ramon Foster. Since they borrowed Lucas this morning, I'm going to borrow Ramon so we can do some Vols and Sooners talk before he heads off to Rocky Top to cover that game for the Vol Network, and we'll get into that. We're even going to attempt to do Stat of the Day without Lucas because this LSU story, it developed further details last night as Ross and I were wrapping up primetime. The fact that the athletic director, who was apparently not going to be allowed to make the hire, according to the governor of Louisiana, is now being fired. So not only do they owe Brian Kelly $53 million, not only do they owe his staff, who will soon be fired, buyouts as well, they will owe Scott Woodward $6 million to get out of town because he also has a buyout situation as the athletic director for the Tigers. So we will cover that here in just a little bit. Coach Mack is on the show. Brett Kern is on the show. We'll do some picks. Do we have things to give away for Friday Fire later today?
Oh, we certainly do. Let me navigate through my brown paper bag to find them real quick. I also, I cannot breathe in this thing.
Well, you didn't cut a mouth hole, dummy.
Anyways, let me look for this.
So you're just breathing in your own hot air.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that at least I remember to do last year with my collaboration bag over my head. But perhaps we'll be able to cut a mouth hole for Ross at some point in his brown paper bag that says "We Ass" in his Titans hoodie.
It looks like our Friday Fire giveaway, 2 tickets to see Foo Fighters with special guest Queens of the Stone Age at Nissan Stadium next year on August 15th for their tour.
All right, very good. So we will, don't call yet, but at 11:45 today, we will need your moment of positivity from this week at the Best Friday Fire. Gets 2 tickets to Foo Fighters. So the Titans and the Chargers are inconsequential as far as the actual game, right? It's likely that Tennessee falls to 1-8. They are, last I looked, 8.5-point underdogs at home against Los Angeles, who's not had the best run of it lately, but started to get right once Joe Alt came back into the lineup last week. And the Titans are still looking at an injury report that is missing their best players. Not only have they traded away their entire secondary, save L'Jarius Sneed, but Jeffrey Simmons is also somebody who is unlikely to play. We will have Mike McCoy's updates for Sunday before the end of the show. We'll probably get that in the noon hour, so we will keep you updated with that. But a lack of Calvin Ridley, a lack of Jeffrey Simmons, you're basically looking at the same team that got dog-walked against Indianapolis last week. So what does that mean? Well, it means you're going to get another opportunity to watch Cam Ward try and gut it out against a good defense. And we'll see if his progress from last week is sustainable to this week, and that's basically what we're going to be doing for the rest of 2025. Now, Ross, I'm going to take a different approach to covering this game on Sunday.
And what approach is that?
Forever, I've never sat in the stands at Nissan Stadium.
Really?
Never.
Not for a concert?
Oh, have I for a concert?
You told me you were in the suites one time for something.
I did. I've been on the field for CMA Fest because I used to go to CMA Fest every year. And I did sit in a suite one time for CMA Fest, but I don't think I've ever sat in the stands at Nissan Stadium for anything. No, that's not true. Nashville SC, when they were still playing at Nissan, I think I went to 2 SC games. And I went to the Winter Classic when the Preds played at Nissan.
All right, that's good because those bleachers build character for sure.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, I'm sitting around thinking about how the hell I'm going to cover this game on Sunday. With meaning, not just, hey, they lost again. Let's go talk to Cam Ward about how they lost again. But did you do some good things in it, bud? It's tired for the audience. It's tired for me. It's tired for them. They're tired of answering the same questions, too. God knows. They're 1-7. Likely to be 1-8. Now, could they do the unthinkable and win a football game? Maybe. But in the absence or in the not likelihood of that, I'm going to sit in the stands for the entire game on Sunday. I'm going to go talk to Titans fans. I'm going to go interview them about their experience. And I'm going to do the thing that I've never done before in my life, which is take in a Titans game from the 300s and then maybe go down to the lower bowl and then maybe mess around and go to club. And I do have some friends with suites, so maybe I'll pop in there just to see what the fan experience is like on game day. Because honest to God, I don't know what else to do on Sunday if their games stop mattering this way.
See, that's what I was going to say. You got to go to the 300 level for sure.
I've never been up there. I've for sure never been up there.
Spend most of your time up there because I feel like that's where the true fans are. They're just riding it out from the 300. If you're going to a Titans game from the 300 level, I mean, you're all in at that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to talk to those people, because I feel like I'm so detached. I'm still gonna have my parking and whatever, and I'm not gonna completely, like, I'm still gonna go up to the press box at some point to get some coffee. I'm not gonna, totally schlep it. But I want to talk to people who are at these games. Like, hey, where's your belief coming from? Or were these tickets that were gifted to you? Or how are you feeling about Cam Ward? What's the direction of the franchise as you see it? Like, I want to go talk to the people who are showing up to these things still, because we get plenty of complaints on social media. We get plenty of feedback on the show. We get plenty of calls. But we understand that attendance is dwindling. So for the people that are there, I want to talk to those people. And I know that some of them do call and do interact with us in a variety of different ways, but I think it would be it's going to be a good experience for me, I think, or I'll be miserable about it, which is more likely. And I just think it would be good to go talk to people at a game. I don't think I've ever actually done that other than, wave high and bye as I'm walking into the stadium.
Now, okay, don't make it a thing, though, where, like, someone's giving a message of hope and they're hoping the Titans and you're, like, shooting them down. Because I know that will poke at you.
No. I'm going to play this as straight as humanly possible.
Good.
Like, I've got a list of questions that I'm going to ask everybody that I talk to. And I am going to work my way down. Hey, what's been your best experience as a Titans fan? What's been your worst experience as a Titans fan? How do you feel about the progress of Cam Ward? How do you feel about the direction of the franchise? What is your approval rating of A.B. Adams-Strunk? Like, I'm gonna give that, like, just straight line questions. And yeah, will there be some negative? Sure, because they're 1-7 and the franchise loses a lot and people aren't happy. But I do think that I think it's an opportunity to learn a little more about what people are invested in, and do people actually care about some of the stuff that I care about? Because I feel like I can get a little disconnected sometimes. So I'm going to do the thing that I never do. I'm going to go talk to people.
That should go well.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out together. Ramon Foster next. Nothing worse than an HVAC, plumbing, or electrical emergency. That's why you make sure that you have the Happy Hiller folks on speed dial, because no one wants to deal with that. And most of the time, you don't know what it will cost, or if it'll get fixed correctly, or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, because their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. And the price that you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. No hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. No more wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. So book online today at happyhiller.com. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Ramon Foster has been kind enough to spend a little extra time with us. Good to see you, big fella.
What's going on? Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween indeed. What's the spookiest part of this Titan season? The House of Horrors is unending.
It's father and son getting fired before the season's even close to being over. That's the spookiest part of it, because now you and I and everybody else that covers this team and watched this team got a lot of questions and we got solutions, but it means nothing at this point.
Did you see the skit that the NFL on Fox did?
No.
You can find it if you want to look at it in real time. It's a visual bit for an audio medium, so I will do my best to describe it for the audience. In fact, I think I may have explained it earlier in the week, but it's on my Twitter timeline if you want to, Ramon.
It was pretty scary.
It was pretty scary, pretty spooky, many have said. So the NFL on Fox, they do some skits from time to time as a part of their pregame shows, and this week's was an NFL House of Horrors. And the first horror, I want to make sure that I
be good there.
Articulate. The first horror that the couple who is touring the haunted house is greeted with is a person in a suit and a Titans ball cap with a pen and a contract saying, "Congratulations, you're the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans."
Oh, my God.
And while it does not resemble the president of the Tennessee Titans, the first person I thought of was Bert Nile. Which is a tough look. Tough look.
They slapped the contract down and ran away.
Yeah. Because this place makes you want to run away. Like that's what I'm so fascinated to see who they actually bring in to interview for the coaching cycle and what concessions they have to make as far as who they're going to want to hire versus who's actually going to take this job. Because, again, it is the cliche of 1 of 32. Somebody will take it. But you don't want just somebody. You want somebody who's going to be good at this. Get out of here with Joe Brady. Like, that's the thing that's going to make me the most insane about the dialogue. Oh, it's a good job because it's an NFL job. That's not how that works.
Not every job is rated the same at all. And then you also, before you take this job, you got to ask yourself the same thing I'm sure Brian Callahan asked himself also, and maybe Rand Carthon too. How long will I get? And then it's the other side of it too. But
and what is my buyout?
Absolutely.
Come on down. Maybe I'm not Brian Kelly, James Franklin type deal. But
yeah, but it's also this part of it too is holding up the mirror. Do you know what you look like?
No. I don't think they're self-aware about that at all. At least the people that are running the optics of this thing.
Well, some people get A's for doing the group project, but at the same time, you had no contributions to it. Like there is, and I mentioned this earlier too, we were speaking about rosters and trades and stuff like that when Lucas this morning. It was the understanding of like when you line up in Wednesday's the reset of the week for NFL teams. The old game plan is done, we're on the new one and we're scouting this team. If you're in a room, and I've been in rooms like this before to where coaches put up in this player and we got to watch this player and this player, the one guy that you watch for on this team respectfully is out, and it's Jeff.
Yeah.
So when I ask the question of whoever the new coach is walking into this scenario, one, how much money are you going to let me spend? Because the Patriots didn't let Gerard Mayo spend any last year. They did this year with Vrabel, and they reset it, okay? How much can I spend? How much involvement do I have in the players that I want to coach? Those are real hard questions. They're going to have to answer for you, and you got to be prepared if you're Chad and if you're Mike Berganzi. So it's that part of it, okay? And then the other one is how long are you really going to give me?
I don't think the people that are making the hire can answer that question. Because you know what? She's going to swoop down if she gets unhappy. And she's going to take the sword out.
What?
Nope. I might not be able to get the sword.
Come on, get the sword out, Buck.
Oh. And she's going to chop off another head if she's tired of it. They don't know how long the next person's going to get.
But, like, I love the sound of that sword. I absolutely love the sound of this sword. I
brought it in for comedic effect today. It's about as sharp as a butter knife, I swear.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, that's a real question. If I'm supposedly to be a professional, right? If I'm considered to be one of the best coaches in the world. Only reason I ask that question is because you look at the people before him. I don't know if Rand Carthon gets another GM job. Okay? I don't know if John Robinson gets considered for another GM job.
He got interviewed.
I don't know. Well, he did. You're right. That's on me, John Robinson. My bad.
Yeah, that's on
know.
John.
They'll interview
Love
anybody.
you, buddy, but it's on you. Yes, it is still your fault.
The next one is this, though. I don't think Brian Callahan gets another stab at being an NFL head coach.
A stab, you say?
It's appropriate on a day like today of House of Horrors when you got national big-time networks making fun of you and your team.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it. I know we got to talk about the schematics of our conversation, but like,
oh no, I want to talk about the Vols. I'm tired of talking about the damn Titans. Like, I'm so happy to see that power tee on your cowboy hat today because it's just a break. It's just a blessed relief.
Black cowboy, aka volunteer cowboy too. But what I'm saying is this: if you're to be taken serious, that's why I've been on this. I'm probably taking a lot of people off by saying this. I had somebody tweet at me about. They don't agree with my take on trading Jeffrey Simmons trading Jeffrey Simmons out of here. You want to know what I did? I clicked on his profile before I was going to respond to it, so I respond to it on your show, Buck. He was, I don't agree with it. He's the one good thing that you have, et cetera, et cetera. And then I click on his profile, and his profile is him with a pair of jeans and a shirt that has the slogan, "We ass."
Which is adorning Ross's. He took the paper bag off to field the calls, but he has a paper bag and a Titans hoodie on with a Titans logo slapped over the front of it that says "We ass."
But if that's your standard and that's a joke to you as a fan base, why would you keep the most serious thing around you in Jeffrey Simmons when you can go ahead and just strip it all the way down? Like, and I know that's a hard conversation to have. It is. Like, just the one thing we got.
Myles Garrett, though. I mean, that's the Myles Garrett of it all.
But what is that netting them?
Oh, them? Nothing, really.
Couple more tickets sold.
He had 5 sacks, and they lost by 19 on Sunday. Ramon, I was listening to Titans players in the locker room, and I won't say which players, but they were talking about Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Like talking about the idea of, would you take $45 million to suck? Essentially. And like these guys, like it's a natural conversation, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to share who it is.
That's the conversation you have in the locker room.
Yeah,
I
that's
respect
real.
that. I love that conversation. It's
Yeah.
a good one to have. But like, if Myles Garrett is a walking gold jacket, 100%. He's a Hall of Famer, and I don't care what anybody else say about it. But as far as that franchise go, you're keeping afloat one particular guy just so that you can sell tickets and have a face. That guy's frustrated and throwing his helmets on the sideline right now. Like, the Titans aren't even that close to where I think the Browns are because they got capital to draft them with next year.
They got the best defense in football.
Exactly. And I see a comment even said, Jeff is a building block, though. And where are you at right now? You hadn't even poured the concrete to have a block.
Square one.
And I don't say that to be disrespectful to the Titans fans, but it is a portion of this. When we line up and we go through the scout meetings where we reset and going through personnel, nothing's fearful on this team.
You're not scared of Truman Jones? Do you know who that is?
I found out the other day. In the year of 2025, we have an adult by the name of Truman. That was news to me, man.
I got to stop doing that to Truman Jones. I've used that joke a couple of times. It's not fair to Truman. He's just trying to do his job. But, like, you get my point.
To be fair, I'm a black guy named Ramon. So there we go. There we go. So we're even, okay?
I feel like there's more black guys named Ramon than there are black guys named Truman.
Listen, I wanted to make sure nobody stereotyped him on his resume.
I found out Alec Pierce was white the other day.
Huh?
You didn't know that either?
No.
See, Lucas acted like you cover
Come on, man. Come on, yo.
I don't know what he looks like without his helmet off. I just thought, listen, the press box at Lucas Oil is 100 feet in the air. I just assumed he was a light-skinned guy.
What is Riley Moss?
Oh, racist. Wait, no.
What?
That's the wrong Riley. That's the wrong Riley.
Who's the Eagles receiver?
Riley Cooper.
Riley Cooper is the racist.
Him and Kenny Chesney concerts. Yeah.
Do you want to apologize to Riley Moss?
I am sorry, Riley Moss. My bad.
What's his ethnicity? Do you know? His race, I mean.
Oh, no shot. Okay, Riley, I immediately thought Riley Cooper, Morgan Wallen haircut.
He's a white cornerback for the Denver Broncos.
Oh, okay.
And he's cold.
Yeah,
he's real nice.
Pretty good.
Real nice.
I said, to be fair, though, about Alec Pierce, like, he don't play like he's white, so I guess that's fair.
You said it, not me, Ross. You said it, not me.
Yeah, I don't think you should be the one to say that.
No, I played like I was white for sure.
Yeah, no, you said it. Even though your voice is confusing sometimes, I mean, it still passes. What would I trade for Jeff? It'll take 2 twos, and I think they can probably get it for a Super Bowl contender.
Oh,
right
2
now.
twos for sure.
Yeah,
but again, like he's not inexpensive. like he's cost effective relative to the rest of his position and where the money's heading.
Absolutely.
And he will very soon not be cost effective when he cashes in on what is, I mean, before the hammy, it's a career year for Jeff.
Absolutely. So when you look at his situation, you say to yourself, okay, yeah, you got him, but you're going to pay him, and you can pay this money too. Because the league is going to cut a check to make this affordable. So I look at this situation for Jeff and I say, do you want to pay a D tackle $35 million to $40 million a year just to keep him, just to say, hey, we got a building block? Like the one other guy, and I mentioned this earlier, that went through this process was Fletcher Cox with the Eagles. But they were somewhat still competitive. I don't know if the Eagles ever got to this point to where you have this many questions about them. No. And Fletcher Cox lasted through that. But this isn't that scenario.
615-737-1045 is the number. By the way, we didn't mention that Chris Grier, the GM of the Dolphins, got fired. Obviously, the Dolphins lose last night. They fall to 2-7 on the season. And Chris Grier is the person who needed to be fired more than Mike McDaniel, because the Dolphins roster is a joke at this point in time. If you want to look at the real issues with where Miami is right now, it is the state of the roster. Now, maybe they've built it in a style that Mike McDaniel fashions or would prefer, but they are hopelessly bad at this point in time. They've got a quarterback who has moments, like there are moments when Tua's on, Ramon, where I don't think there's a more accurate quarterback in the sport. Yeah. And he was in the early going, he was dealing a little bit. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's going to carry over his 4-touchdown performance that he had the week before. He very much did not. But in Miami, they are also in a situation where I'm confused as to who's now going to make the trades, because the trade deadline is Tuesday and you've just fired the general manager. So is the owner going to decide?
Well, he tried to before with Tom Brady.
Yeah, it cost him a first-round draft pick.
And a lawsuit.
Anyway, let's talk about happier things. Tennessee. How much fun are you having, by the way?
I'm having a ton.
I'm so jealous.
I'll be honest with you. It has been fun, and here's the thing.
I'm so happy for you and Mike Keith that you're doing that instead of this.
Yeah, well, it's also like with me, I was probably going to have a ball regardless because I'm not playing, but like I do look at this situation as Bob Kessler and those guys went through, and it was lean for the Vols, and I'm jumping in on the high end of this roller coaster. But watching an offense that can compete and be exciting for you, you're never out of a game. The Bama game was frustrating, and that was the one this year you said, golly, they played bad. Should probably be their only loss.
Yeah.
But I do look at this team and see guys that's bought into the system, albeit the defense ain't what you want it to be. You still stay in the games because you got that one good thing that's working for you. The optimism of the offense with a quarterback that can deliver almost any pass on the field, and wide receivers who are very talented. So much so that Brazel may end up being, I don't want to throw a first rounder in there, but at minimum second, third round draft pick at this point.
And people are very excited about him in the draft world, as I'm sure you've talked to people.
Absolutely. And then on the other side of it too, you got Colton Hood, who's a spring transfer from Colorado. Now on many NFL draft boards as a first-round draft pick this year. And meanwhile, your bona fide draft pick and first-round draft pick and Jermon McCoy is even yet to play. The Vols may end up having 2 minimum, if not 3 first-round draft picks in this year. So, yeah, Buck, that's kind of fun right there.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you don't want to be boring and bad. Even in the games where you're out of, you're still excited about what you can be. You walk into each weekend with optimism and hope. So, yeah, that's cool as heck, man.
Number 18, Oklahoma, heading to Knoxville on Saturday against number 14, Tennessee. So we are interested to see what happens here. I feel, and I'm sure most people do, I don't think this is an unpopular opinion or a polarizing opinion, but I think Tennessee hosting Oklahoma has a better chance than Vanderbilt does at Texas. The line has continued to shift in favor of Texas at this point in time. I don't think Texas fans are feeling very good, because Arch did have his best game against Mississippi State, Ramon, but they were getting blown out I think people just ignored the fact that they got blown out for the majority of that game and had to come back to win that game.
And maybe that was a step that Arch needed to have in that moment, because you look at him, like I think he thought it was a flex that he said Peyton didn't have much of an involvement in his life. No, you need to go talk to Uncles Eli and Peyton real quick, okay, figure this quarterback thing out. But I do look at their team and I say this as far as Arch goes. He need to let the defense walk for him and just hand the football off. His offensive line need to grow up, but the game is Tennessee, Oklahoma. If the Vols can control Isaiah Satenga, this weekend, I think you got something. That and keeping John Mateer in the box. I feel like the first few games of the season, John Mateer was a guy that said, watch me do work and shock the world with my athleticism. And Oklahoma, you need me. The last 2 weeks has been his running game has kind of got it together, and that defense is very menacing, man. They will blitz you the same way Vanderbilt does at times, and they lay their heads on that. Defensive head coaches believe in two things to me. They overly believe in their defense. They're very cocky about their defenses and how they can just win games, and they're very staunch about how they run the football. The last 2 weeks, they have been a group that has just put the ball on the ground and allowing that young offensive line at the tackles position not be exposed. The Vols got one issue, well, a couple of issues on defense. They've realized that the reputation that they have of getting sacks has cost them. It's made them a very sack-productive defense, force opposing teams to get the football out quick. And that's where they got to be good in space. That's where a guy like John Mateer can hurt the Vols. If he's accurate at getting the ball out to his wide receivers quickly, them missing tackles at the rate that they're doing right now is problematic. Because if you look what Kentucky did, the Vols outscored Kentucky last weekend, and there was nothing they could do about it. But that young quarterback, Cutter Boley, is going to be a problem at Kentucky if they raise him up, if he don't transfer out. He can deal, and he allowed his guys to get the football in space and go make plays for him. They got to be good underneath, especially if Arian Carter's out this weekend too.
What is fair criticism then of Tim Banks? Because Tim Banks can't be on the field to make tackles for them. Denard Wilson can't be on the field to cover Alec Pearson and Michael Pittman for the Titans corner. Like I know that they're not perfect or anything like that, and there are certain things and certain decisions that are made that are fair to question, but like when I'm just seeing the rate of missed tackles that the Vols defense has, like I don't know what is fair criticism of the coach.
Yeah, and for him is his level of communicating with them over the course of the week. The Vols issues break apart or fall apart whenever, or expose themselves whenever they're communicating on the back end and they're playing zone. If you don't have four guys up front that can get home and sack the quarterback or affect them, well, what are your blitzes like and why are they not good? And if you are sending blitzes, how are your guys communicating on the back end so they know what zones that they're in? That's the issue that they've had. When he does send heat, he'll find somebody down the sideline and he escapes outside of the pocket. That's been the issue. Gap integrity. So that, to me, is a coaching thing. If you are just rushing forward and dropping everybody back, what are you doing up front as far as personnel to free those guys up? Are you scheming them up? Are you tricking them? Are you dropping guys off in coverage and confusing the quarterback? That, to me, is a coach thing. But I will also acknowledge this. It'll be hard for Josh Heupel to have an elite, in my opinion, an elite defensive coordinator. And I know they were real good last year. That's because the offense worked at a slower pace. If you're going 3 and outs quick, or, hey, it's 1st and 10 and then it's 1st and 15 and you can't get out of it, defenses get tired by staying on the field. We love up-tempo offenses because it wears the defense out and you keep them out there for a very long time. Josh Heupel's got to get to a point to where he's finding a balance of having his offense be methodical but not too quick, because you send those guys back out there, teams expose them because they're tired. I just think it can be problematic for him to have that type of guy unless, and here's the bad part of having an offensive coach, unless in today's world he spends a lot more money on defense. I think that defense needs a trench monster up the middle. I don't care where you go get them from. And you also got to have somebody on the back end to where they convince Coach Heupel and his staff to spend money on a safety. In college, it's two positions that matter still. Safety and running back. Those matter a lot in college still. Maybe not so more in the NFL, but in that level, it does.
Those are viewed as non-premium positions at the next level, which is always interesting. But I think that there's, I don't even know if we're still having that conversation around running backs or safeties. Kyle Hamilton is a very specific player, right?
Different, though.
But he's all over the place.
Yeah.
He's being used at every level of the defense. He's playing outside linebacker last night at various points. There are running backs who are, Jonathan Taylor deserves MVP discussion, but he won't get it because he's a running back, and that's an optics thing, which is weird. So, anyway, these are the things that keep me up at night.
I'm with you. JT need to be talked about in an MVP conversation, but he'll be Offensive Player of the Year, and it'll go to Drake May, Daniel Jones.
I think if Lamar Jackson gets the Ravens back into the playoffs and wins the division the way that they're favored to, I think it would be hard to ignore Lamar.
So Lamar is this generation's Aaron Rodgers without the Super Bowl yet?
It does feel a little bit like that. It's good to have you hang out, buddy. I appreciate it.
Anytime, if I got time, I got it for you, Buck.
That's the main man, Ramon Foster. Ramon and Will, right before this show starts from 6 to 10 a.m. And, of course, the Vol Network kicking off on Saturday night when Tennessee hosts Oklahoma. We'll be listening. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir.
We are going to roll SEC Stat of the Day since there is additional NFL news that is worth talking about. We will also work in the SEC Stat of the Day, but we'll get into more of why the Dolphins fired the general manager right now and what just became available to the rest of the NFL. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of guys get back to feeling like themselves. These aren't cookie-cutter treatments that are on offer. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results, often with options most men didn't even know were out there. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. So call today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Nothing spooky about Hattie B's. You can download the app. You can even get a free dessert if it's your first time ordering on the app. We ordered Hattie B's via the app yesterday. Got all manner of bonus points, or what I guess rewards points is the proper term, in the Hattie B's app. HattieB.com for more info. Ross is complaining because his costume today is a Titans fan. If you're just now joining us, if you're not watching the show on Zone TV, which you are welcome to do at any point, you can always watch all of the shows. After the fact, you can watch Football and Other F Words, which is outside of the normal day-to-day programming. But Ross and I bullied Ross into dressing up for Halloween because I was bullied into dressing up for Halloween today. And so he has donned his wee-ass bag over his head with a Titans logo because he is a Titans fan for Halloween, and he's complaining about it. What's wrong?
Well, it's usually freezing in this room, and with the weather change, they have turned the heat on in this building, which is fine, except it's very stuffy in here, and this bag is hard to breathe in, to say the least. So we're fighting through the circumstances. I'm kind of sticking my nose through the eye hole as I speak to you right now, but we're working on it. I have limited visibility as well, which is fun. But we're here.
We're here. You have permission to take the bag off while you screen phone calls, but other than that, the bag must remain on. I did the show last year with my collaboration Titans fan outfit with a bag over my head for 3 hours. So if I got to do it, you got to do it. 615-737-1045. Okay, so Chris Grier got fired. We are going to get to this LSU story because the LSU story is obviously developing, and Brian Kelly's firing was the biggest story, I might argue, in sports this week. But additional reporting has come out on the Dolphins. Dolphins lost to the Baltimore Ravens last night, 28-6. They have since this morning fired their general manager. Now, a couple of different reasons why this is interesting. One, because the deadline is Tuesday for NFL teams to make trades. And reportedly, the Dolphins received trade calls prior to this week on 5 players, but were unwilling to deal them in the last couple of weeks. Those players, and this is according to Tom Pelissero, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, 3 outside linebackers, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and Matthew Judon, cornerback Rasul Douglas. So they're getting a new interim general manager, Champ Kelly, I believe is the name of the interim GM in Miami. And, Champ Kelly, the former Raiders interim GM when they fired Titans legend Dave Ziegler, who is now on the Titans staff. Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, when they got fired 2 years ago, Champ Kelly took over as the interim GM in Vegas. So he's got experience there. I imagine that the Dolphins, if they were unwilling to strip it down, now they got no choice, or at least the owner is not leaving them with much choice. And that is a problem when you are in a situation that Miami is with an expensive quarterback contract. One of the worst quarterback contracts that's out there is Tua's. The worst of all time will forever be Deshaun Watson's until somebody gives a boneheaded deal out to I don't know, is pervert too strong a word to use with Deshaun Watson? I don't feel that it's too strong. In fact, I probably feel like it's strong enough, but we understand the circumstances around Deshaun Watson.
Indeed.
Do we want to do, it's not really a stat of the day, it's more observations, but either way, that is what we typically do at this time. Do you have imaging?
I do, and it fits well with Halloween.
Go ahead.
Very spooky.
You gotta know when to pat him on the ass, and you gotta know when not to say anything.
So come on down where the big boys play, in the SEC Dungeon.
All right, so normally we would do the SEC stat of the day, but these are more observations on the SEC because LSU, we played for you the cartoon character of a governor that the state of Louisiana has, Jeff Landry, who, by the way, made some additional comments yesterday that make you question the idea of whether Jeff Landry should be anywhere near the hiring of a coach when he still thinks that the BCS is in effect. Did you see that yesterday? He did a phone interview where he's talking about the Bowl Championship Series, which has been defunct for quite some time. But now, in Jeff Landry's comments recently, he made it clear that Scott Woodward, the former now athletic director of LSU, would not be responsible for hiring the next coach of the Tigers. And as the news has developed last night, Scott Woodward was out as LSU's athletic director. After firing Brian Kelly, they're in the middle of a 3-5 season. The statement, we thank Scott for the last 6 years of service as AD. He had a lot of success at LSU, and we wish him nothing but the best in the future. Our focus now is on moving the athletic department forward and best positioning LSU to achieve its full potential. Apparently, there was a press conference that was scheduled for 8 a.m. Central Time this morning to discuss the athletic director change. I did not catch the press conference today, but LSU is a fascinating job because, one, now you have an athletic director and a coach that you are going to have to replace. But I do think that this is beneficial. If Brian Kelly is going to be fired, I might argue that this is something the Titans should have done when they fired Rand Carthon. Clear both out and get somebody on the same page. Look at Ross nodding in his Titans. With his Titans bag on his head for the Zone TV audience. But yeah, it just makes sense to bring people in on the same timeline if that opportunity arises. And 5-3 is obviously insufficient at LSU. And Scott Woodward's tenure there has been fine, but not spectacular. And I think anybody in the world, Brian Kelly, I used to think that Brian Kelly was a good coach. But have you read a lot of the reporting that's coming out around this? And it's easy to do after the guy's fired. Like, where's the reporting when the guy is in place? But there's stuff to the effect of Brian Kelly was running the program from a distance, that he didn't really know players' names, that he didn't make much of an effort to develop relationships with his roster, that he was combative, and, you know, all the stuff that we knew about Brian Kelly, which is that he's a bit of a jerk, or at least displays the behavior of a jerk. Anybody in the world would have told you that Brian Kelly didn't make sense at LSU. And yet Scott Woodward got caught up in the idea that Notre Dame's coach, all-time winningest coach, was available, and Brian Kelly's a name. But it just didn't make sense.
It was never going to be a fit. From the opening speech of the basketball game to where we are now, it was never going to work out.
It never made sense. So, again, doesn't mean that Scott Woodward didn't try to take a swing, but he got caught up in the flashy elements of Brian Kelly. When in reality, when you really look at Brian Kelly, there's a lot more that's problematic there.
Well, to say the least, yeah.
Beyond the scissor lift stuff.
I was going to say.
Yeah, there's that too. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to join the conversation. Why don't we take your phone calls coming up next? Because we do have phone calls to take, and I want to make sure we get to your thoughts on the situation. Also, a potential trade for the Titans at the deadline that I think might send fans spiraling, and not Jeff Simmons. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Happy Halloween from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. Week 9 in the NFL kicked off last night as the Miami Dolphins hosted the Ravens. The Ravens took the win 28-6 as quarterback Lamar Jackson threw for 4 touchdowns in his first game back from injury, 2 of those to Mark Andrews. The Ravens also forced 3 turnovers on the night, 2 fumble recoveries, and a pick from rookie safety Malachi Starks. Also, in some quick NFL news, the Jaguars placed wide receiver and defensive back Travis Hunter on injured reserve after a knee injury he suffered in practice, per Tom Pelissero. The Miami Dolphins have agreed to mutually part ways with general manager Chris Grier, and they also announced that Mike McDaniel will remain the head coach for the rest of the season. The Tennessee Titans host the Chargers on Sunday in Nashville. Kickoff is set for noon Central with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff starting here on The Zone at 9, followed by Titans radio pregame coverage at 11. The number 14 Tennessee Vols host the number 18 Oklahoma Sooners in a playoff elimination matchup as both teams have 2 losses. Kickoff is set for 6:30 p.m. Central tomorrow, and you can listen to Mike Keith and Ramon Foster of Vol Network broadcast the game right here on The Zone. Lastly, the number 9 ranked Vanderbilt Commodores take a trip to Austin as they face the number 20 Texas Longhorns in an SEC clash. Texas comes into the game with 2 losses, which will put their playoff lives at stake, but they are also currently favored by 3 points. Kickoff is set for 11 a.m. Central tomorrow. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
So the trade deadline is nearly upon us. The Titans have one more game before Tuesday's deadline at 3 p.m. Central Time comes and goes. Will there be more trades for the Titans? I think a lot of people are looking around and saying, well, of course. Let's trade Calvin Ridley. Let's trade Arden Key. Let's trade anybody, Kevin Zeitler. Anybody else that you're tired of or that you don't think you want anything to do with anymore, trade them all. Okay, but somebody has to want them. That becomes a different kind of conversation. We were talking about this amongst ourselves yesterday at Titans practice. Paul Kaharski was asking, the collective Titans media corps, or like whoever was standing around while we were waiting to go in the locker room, hey, over under 1.5 trades before Tuesday. I said under. Not counting Jarvis Brownlee, who's already been traded, not counting Roger McCreary, who's already been traded. But post those 2 transactions, over under 1.5, I'd say under.
So who's most likely then, do you think, out of possible candidates?
Draymond Jones is a player that is having success on a bad team and plays a premium position that I think would make sense for a lot of people as depth. You can't have enough pass rushers. I would say Jihad Ward is also playing good football here lately, or at least relative to the rest of the roster. Key is the lesser of those 3, but he's also on an expiring deal, and if the Titans don't want to trade all of their outside linebackers, well, we'll give you Arden Key, but not Draymond Jones, or we'll give you Jihad Ward, but not Arden Key. Like whatever their preference is, I think that Ward and Jones are more likely to stick around because that's more the type that this front office went out and targeted, right? Those were signings made by Mike Borgonzi Borgonzi's the GM, so we'll just keep it within the context of Borgonzi, even though Chad Brinker is obviously involved in the roster. Keith Bullock brought this up yesterday. He has no idea what kind of corners they want because they've traded 2 very different kinds of corners, both who could fill in for you as nickel, start for you as nickel. But they've said, no, we're good on both. And I get the McCreary thing. I don't get the Brownlee thing. So as you look at the Titans roster, what would people actually want on the roster? Spotrac on Twitter, at Spotrac, S-P-O-T-R-A-C, put this out earlier today, about 4 hours ago. Potential Titans trade candidates and their remaining 2025 salaries. There are 7 players listed. Only one of those 7 players has multiple years left on his deal. Obviously, that's Calvin Ridley because L'Jarius Sneed is not available to be traded. And again, I don't know what you would get for Snead, but it sure as hell ain't the third you traded for him. Calvin Ridley has $11.5 million left on his 2025 salary. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a playoff contending team. There are teams that do have wiggle room financially who would be vying for Super Bowl contention this year, at least postseason contention. But 11.5 is a lot to eat on a front end. Are you going to have to buy some of Calvin Ridley's contract down? I don't necessarily love the idea of that, but I got why they did it with DeAndre Hopkins. Now, what's the value? Are you getting as much for Ridley as you did for Hop? Probably not. A conditional fifth that could become a fourth based on playing time, which the Chiefs obviously managed to make sure that it wasn't a fourth-round pick, so you got a fifth for D-Hop. I can't imagine that Calvin Ridley would net you better value than DeAndre Hopkins did, because Hopkins was still a more consistent player, despite Baltimore not having the best start to their season. The other seven, Arden Key with a remaining salary of $3.4 million, Kevin Zeitler, $2 million, Chigakonkwo, $1.7, Draymond Jones, $1.2, Van Jefferson listed here because he is still, a professional wide receiver. He's played enough in the NFL that he would be more plug and play than most guys. A little over $500,000 left on his deal because it was a one-year deal. But the thing that I would want most that is listed here on SpotTrack that I don't think Titans fans have even considered is T'Vondre Sweat. I think people would be pissed if they traded T'Vondre Sweat. T'Vondre Sweat is currently on the books for $614,000 this year. He's a former second-round pick. You wouldn't get that back. But if you think that they wouldn't strongly consider moving Sweat in the same way that they moved Brownlee, now they actively shopped Brownlee. I don't know. At least I haven't heard anything of them actively shopping Sweat. But I have heard enough comments about, getting him through the week or trying to do the things to get him to do what he needs to do throughout the course of the week. But he shows up on game day, and sometimes there's guys like that. That's fine. But the guy that drafted him isn't here anymore. They fired Ran Carthon. Just like they traded away Jarvis Brownlee, who was drafted by Ran Carthon. It would be foolish to look around. Lucas has pushed back on me about this before, about me saying, yeah, they are going to look to get their own guys. Don't just assume because there are things on this roster that could help you here, that are at value here, that they are hell-bent on keeping those things. I think if the right price came around for T'Vondre Sweat, they'd absolutely do it.
It's like the thing with Sweat is just health, obviously, and availability. I think when he's out there, I think most Titans fans are aware of some of the, the advantages that he brings and the production he can bring at times. He's had back-to-back games with a sack now, but the thing that I just don't like is the lack of availability with him. So I'm not saying I want him to be sent off somewhere, but I wouldn't be, super irate if they traded him.
If you're going to strip it down, this is where it starts. But Sweat is kind of a singular player. Like, there's not, again, he was available for reasons. Dane Brugler came on here. Dane Brugler, who's way more connected in the draft world than just about anybody I know who's not actively working in an NFL front office, saying, yeah, a lot of teams just had him off the draft board because of the outlying stuff.
Do you think that a good bit of Sweat's value comes from Jeff as well? What I mean by that is, I feel like every time we talk about T'Vondre, we talk about, well, look at all the double teams he's going to force to get Jeff some more one-on-ones, right? What if Jeff is gone at some point? Is there a ton of value still in having a T'Vondre Sweat out there?
It would be nice to have somebody take up the double teams. And, that also helps your linebackers. Look at Baltimore last night. And I know Herb Street brought this up on the broadcast. I think the defensive tackle from UConn, Travis Jones, I want to say, he's just a monster. They just eat up blocks, right? So your guys at the second level allows Roquan Smith to play way more freely and to snuff things out in the gap before they develop, even if those individual players aren't making those plays, right? Sweat and Jeff are good at that, and Sweat and Jeff can also make plays unto themselves. But there's more to that job than just box score statistics.
Yes, 100%.
They traded Jarvis Brownlee without getting commensurate value. I know Zach Lyons came on here and argued about Roger McCreary not being traded for commensurate value, but it sounds like LA is treating him like a depth player. So if he's not a starting corner for the Rams, maybe that is the value for Roger McCreary. He's good. He's not great. But you don't have enough good players, which is why I think people were bothered by any of it. Sweat has unhuman or inhuman athletic gifts for a human being that size. But he comes with, and I don't mean this literally, he comes with conditions, right? Exceptions. How often do you see players with exceptions succeed at the NFL level? Exceptions were made to get T'Vondre Sweat here. They went out and made an exception to scout him as thoroughly as humanly possible. Took the PJ down to Texas, talked to his family, got to know him on a granular level. And Ran Carthon said, yeah, that's my guy. Okay. Well, that guy's not here anymore. I'm not saying, I don't even know if it would happen before the deadline, but if I'm an NFL team calling about players on the Titans, I'm looking at Sweat. I'm not looking at the rest of this. Draymond Jones. Draymond Jones is cheap, and he's been effective, and he'd be a great rotational player if you could put him somewhere where you've got other pass rushers, because it wouldn't upset your cap. Neither would Sweat. I'd be curious to see what happens. It could happen. I mean, it could happen at any point is what I'm saying. Now that Ran Carthon is gone, I would not be surprised if there was a world in which T'Vondre Sweat at some point in his Titans tenure was traded.
See, that's the type of stuff that scares me, you know, and I'm not trying to scare Titans fans because in my heart of hearts, I do not think it'll happen, but I brought this up on Cover 2 last week. What if they trade Cedric Gray? They did not pick Cedric Gray, and he is one of the, besides Jeff, he's the dude with the next highest value, I'd argue, on our defense right now.
Crazy. And he's a non-premium position, so I guess you could say, well, we'll find our own Cedric Gray. Well, I mean, do you know that position, off-ball linebacker, they've cycled through more than any other? Like, we always bitch and moan about their right tackle or their wide receiver circumstance, and those are more important positions. But the number of players that they have cycled through to try and get the off-ball linebacker thing right, it's almost double the other two.
Oh, gosh, think about the Vrabel years, too.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
It's been going on for a while.
I know that, and I'm not saying that this staff can't get it right when other staff can't, even though we haven't seen them do it yet, right? I wouldn't be so casual about, we'll just find another off-ball linebacker.
No, I wouldn't either. Like, they do not make that move. I'm just saying I could see teams being like, hey, we know y'all didn't draft this guy. He's been balling. He's got some value. Would you be looking to move him? And then they could get enticed into potentially moving him.
615-737-1045 is the number. Like, I think if that trade happened and no other trades happened, Titans fans would be, we would have an uproar again.
Oh, yeah. Be a lot of good content, probably.
Yeah, but I don't.
No.
No, I know. Like, I want what's best for the show. And if I can't get people to care about games, because, who could possibly blame you? Like, that would give interaction with the show. But at the same point, I don't want to actively make people miserable just because it would make people engage more with the show. You know what I'm saying? I know I come off that way sometimes, but I swear to God, that's not the point of all this. Most days. 615-737-1045. I got to be honest. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. How about Steve in Nashville?
Hey, here's a hypothetical for you. You're talking about trading away players. Let's talk about just the opposite. Let's say you could pick 4 players from any team in the NFL, offensive line players, and add them to our team. 2-part question. Are we winning games? And the second part of this question, if so, is it really a coaching problem or is it a player problem? I'll hang up and listen.
That's interesting.
Steve told me that over the phone. It is a very good question. So say we got like Justin Jefferson.
Well, he's talking. He made it specific to the offensive line. So let's say
he wants it specific to there.
That's the position that he mentioned. 4 players on the offensive line. At least that's how I understood it, Steve. If I was incorrect, you could call Ross back and let him know. But let me just do the offensive line thing, like Creed Humphrey, the Chiefs center.
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson isn't the best version of himself right now, but I get your point. Yeah. He's been. He might be the best right tackle ever.
Yeah,
the guy's a legend. Quentin Nelson, right? The Colts guard, instead of Zeitler. Does that make, are you winning games? I still think that Cam Ward has to be more efficient in order for that to have the kind of effect that you want. I do think, though, that it buys him more grace when you have a better offensive, like he has more room for error in that situation. That was the thing that honestly, I would say that's the most disappointing part of the season is how bad the offensive line has been, despite how much they've continued to invest in it. And I'm not saying that it's as bad as Dennis Daly or Andre Dillard. Like Dan Moore's not that. But there's nothing about them that's been a plus. Like I don't look at them as a above average group. They're certainly not in terms of the metrics. And I wouldn't even say they're league average. I'd say they're a below average unit with one really good player in Skoronski.
I just think like when you're talking about players that could impact, that could add.
Somebody said Penei Sewell over Lane Johnson. I like that.
Fine.
Okay.
But like when you were talking about adding players to this team that could maybe impact winning, I would look more on the defensive side. I don't think we have enough players on the defensive side. I don't see too many issues with the scheme, but we just have a lack of players on that side of the football. Now, offense, I don't think adding players changes much because I just don't like the scheme on offense. I think that's more of a coaching game plan type of issue with the offensive struggles.
Joseph is in Dixon next.
Hey, Buck, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, man, I want to talk about this YouTube TV deal. And, I mean, there's 9 million subscribers for YouTube TV, and they have not reached a deal. I mean, what kind of impacts does that have on sports today? I just wanted to call and talk about that real quick because I haven't heard much of the media talk about it. Any input would be great. Thanks, Buck.
Oh yeah, it's garbage by ESPN. It's such a terrible move. It's a terrible move in terms of what it does to the consumer. Why don't you let me expand a little bit more on that? Because I actually did send Ross some audio from Mike Greenberg that I want to play at some point, but we do have Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio coming up next. So we'll do we won't make Max stay for the whole time because there's really not too much. I don't want to be disrespectful of Mac's time, but they have to go out and win a game. We'll talk about some matchup stuff with Mac. But I want to also get to that YouTube TV thing, so stick with me, and I'll make sure that we get that done. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hetty B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Coach Max visits with us. Are presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, where you can get real deals. The price that you see is the price that you will pay. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Titans and the Chargers at Nissan Stadium on Sunday. Titans Radio, of course, has you covered from start to finish. Happy Friday, Mac.
Hey, Buck. Yeah, just Friday, here at practice, getting ready to wrap up the week.
Yeah, and a lot of changes throughout the course of the week, a lot of personnel changes, whether it be injured reserve, trade deadline type of situation. Obviously, we have several more days to go. What is the balance? And I don't want to make it specific to any one situation, but just overarching, the balance of a coaching staff and a front office when you get in a situation around the deadline where you are probably going to be selling players. What's kind of the dialogue between the two pieces of the organization there?
Well, that's basically the personnel department. If you know any of those types of decisions, are made above the coaches. I mean, at this time of year, the coaches are concerned about game plans and clearly, trying to win a football game. There's dialogue that goes on, but all of those types of plans, are not just made spur of the moment. But those types of things have been thought out, because what you do is you plan out, what the future looks like as far as the salary cap, what it looks like as far as asset allocation, what it looks like as far as players that you've got on expiring contracts. The coaches really don't have time right now to dig into all of that. The assistant coaches don't.
And that's reasonable, because, like you're saying, it's a tireless task getting ready for each game, each opportunity while you're in the season. But that does seem, and I understand that it happens league-wide, Max, so it's not specific to any one situation, but that does seem a bit unfair to the coaches when you're making those personnel changes beyond what the injury report does to your roster.
No, it's not unfair to the coaches at all. They're advised. They know what's going on. Nobody in the National Football League in a club works in a vacuum. I mean, you just don't. Now there are some meetings that you're privy to and some that you aren't. But anything that affects you, there's nobody that works in a vacuum. Nothing's really done in secret, I promise you.
Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Titans Countdown gets you started. Well, the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff gets you started early on Sunday morning, and then Titans Countdown an hour before kick against the Chargers. Justin Herbert is a beast for a variety of different reasons, and he seems, or that offense just generally seems so much more effective with Joe Alt back in the lineup, Mac. How much of that is kind of like at the core of what Jim Harbaugh wants to do with his group?
Well, it always has been. I mean, I was, of course, clearly, I was at the Bears when we drafted Jim, out of Michigan as a quarterback to be the successor to Jim McMahon. I know what he's about, and he's always been since he's been in coaching. I mean, he's always based it on the run game. He's always based it on very physical football. But the quarterback clearly is a fulcrum point for any head coach. And when he took that job there at the Chargers, I mean, he had a pretty good one in place. And you're right, Herbert he is right now, he is performing just about like these other two that the Titans have just played, right at a 70% thrower, maybe a little bit under, but he's the guy that drives the engine for that whole thing. He's also a really good, I think, a very understated athlete as far as his running ability. But getting Joe Alt back, I mean, that's a starting left tackle. He's been really good since he came into the league. I mean, we knew he was going to be good, just by what, he had portrayed, in his collegiate game. And they missed him. Their offensive line, they've missed a little bit of continuity there. They're starting to get that back. But the quarterback and the receivers, because they're missing their top two running backs right now, but they're still ginning pretty well on offense because their throwing game is pretty much outstanding.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up Kamani Vidal, the sixth-round pick from 2024 that's filling in for them. They've got Hassan Haskins there, too, behind him. But the two young players who I think are helping that process along, Mac, are Vidal and then Oronde Gadsden. the tight end for them has been a really effective player. How do they kind of deploy their tight ends, and how much of the utilization of tight end is critical to that offense?
Well, last 2 weeks, I mean, the guy's been a matchup nightmare, especially for safeties. You know, you look at his numbers. I mean, I watch tape. I mean, Rhett runs the numbers for me, and then they pretty much coincide with what I saw on tape, especially, Buck, the last 2 weeks. You know, Gadsden has started to emerge. And, you know, of course, his dad was a really good receiver there at the Dolphins, you know, when he was playing there. But Oronde Gadsden Jr. is a lot bigger. I mean, he's a big dude, 81-inch wingspan. He's a matchup nightmare, you know, especially for safeties and linebackers. There and Jim Harbaugh has always used tight ends in his offense. And now, you know, he's got a guy that he can split out that can really be a threat against matchup problems for defenses.
Matchup problems for defenses is something the Titans are looking for more of, and it seems that they've found something, at least in the immediate, Mac, with Chimere Dike. Obviously, we don't know publicly who's going to be ruled out for this game, but just assuming they're going to be leaning on the young guys again for another week without Calvin Ridley being a participant throughout the course of the practice week. What have you liked about the way, not just that Chimere Dike is performing with those opportunities, but how they're getting him involved?
Well, I mean, look, I mean, that's who they have. Those young guys have to step up because that's their roster. That's their roster right now. And, you know, DK, he started earning his time as an offense. First of all, there's injuries, but second of all, he proved himself as a returner also. But he's got the one thing, Buck, that you just can't replicate, and that's speed. And once you've got speed in the game, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it, but it has to coincide with what else is going on offensively. They need to be able to run the football a little bit better, and that way so the draw is a little bit deeper, you know, for the play action stuff, because he's deadly, especially if teams want to drop down into an 8-man front to play the run. He's deadly against man-to-man, especially on those transcontinentals or those TRCs, but they take some time to develop. But if the run game has the draw on it that it needs to have for play action, he can be a real problem with a one-on-one matchup just because of his speed. I mean, he's a hard speed matchup for anybody.
Yeah, that's the other thing, Mac. You know, of things that we were looking to see the progress on or to potentially kind of take shape, the running game for the Titans is not quite manifested that way yet. And I understand that some of these games that you're just getting out of situations where it makes sense to run the football. Like, I know it's not just, as you mentioned earlier, talking about coaches and front offices, nothing is in a vacuum, right? There are some context required for why the run game hasn't been as prominent as it has been. But what are you seeing from the rushing attack with the Titans right now?
Well, most of it is because when the score gets separated by 2 scores. 2-score separations, it doesn't make a lot of sense to run the football. In fact, teams will let you run the football, but I mean, that's window dressing, you know, if they're 2 or 3 scores ahead, because now what you're doing is eating clock, and you're not, and it's hard to score. It's hard to score quickly unless you bust one off for a long way. But the thing that has to happen with this, you got to keep the game within a 1-score separation so that you have the ability to put a defense in a little bit of a strut, a 50-50 strut, when they know that you have to throw the football. I mean, the run game becomes pretty much irrelevant. And so that's what you got to stay away from, is the 2-score separation. Early in these ball games, especially the last 2, when the offense is ginning and the game is still, you know, within hand, then the run game is, you know, is doing fine, because then I think having, you know, 2 backs with a chance to be able to carry the football now is exactly the load distribution that you need in the run game. But Buck, you got to stay out of 2-score separations, and you have to be able to move the ball on 1st and 2nd down on a continuous basis, not just in spurts.
Chargers at the Titans on Sunday, noon the kickoff. Titans countdown at 11 a.m. The Lee Company countdown to kickoff gets everything started at 9 a.m. outside of Nissan Stadium. Mac, appreciate the time. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you in the booth on Sunday, buddy.
All right, see you. Thank you.
That's the main man, Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio. I bet Mac is a full-size candy bar house on Halloween.
The best type of houses.
People are concerned that you can't breathe in your mask.
I'm concerned as well, but still trying to do my best in here.
Stop fidgeting with it.
What you gotta understand, the eye hole is not like, it doesn't line up with my face. Whoever made this has some wide eyes that does not line up with me.
Sid the Sloth.
Yes, it would fit him for sure.
Somehow you're still managing to respond to people in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, just check in once in a while, see if anybody's talking.
So that's Coach Mack. We appreciate his time. His visits presented by Two Rivers Ford. All right, I want to get back into this YouTube TV ESPN thing. Because yesterday, YouTube TV removed Disney's network. So not just ESPN, but all of the Disney properties. So that's ABC, ESPN, Hulu, and other properties from YouTube TV 30 minutes before their carriage deal expired, which was 11 p.m. Central Time last night. So now you're getting statements from both sides, and this is not something that's uncommon anymore, but it is something that is super annoying if you are somebody that has YouTube TV, which I assume that a lot of people do now. Now, I'm a dinosaur because I just don't want to have to mess with everything. Like, I want everything in one spot that's easy for me to find. I have cable. Cable is also a tax write-off for me. So I'm not sweating my Xfinity bill because I know that I'm going to get to pull it out of my taxes later. I am annoyed that ESPN chooses to leverage this way, the way that they do, or any network, Fox, anybody that has sports, that are using sports and sports fans as leverage here because they're not getting enough money, or they don't think they're getting enough money because they've been getting way too much money on ESPN just being included in everybody's cable package, whether or not you're a sports fan. And that's something that made ESPN one of the most profitable Disney properties that there was for a period of time. Certainly in the mid-2000s, ESPN was cooking. And obviously some things have changed since then. So YouTube TV puts this out yesterday. Despite our best efforts, we have not been able to reach a fair deal, and starting today, Disney programming will not be available on YouTube TV. This means you will no longer be able to access ABC or ESPN or access recordings from these networks in your library. We know how disruptive it is to lose channels you enjoy, and we're committed to continuing to work with Disney to reach an agreement. If their content is unavailable for an extended period of time, this is the funny part, we'll offer our members a $20 credit. So $20, but you can't watch any of your sports.
That's good.
This from ESPN. Unfortunately, a little bit more combative from Mickey Mouse. Unfortunately, Google's YouTube TV has chosen to deny their subscribers the content they value most by refusing to pay fair rates for our channels, including ESPN and ABC. Without a new agreement in place, their subscribers will not have access to our programming, which includes the best lineup in live sports, anchored by the NFL, NBA, and college football, with 13 of the top 25 college teams playing this weekend. With a $3 trillion market cap, ESPN now pocket watching. With a $3 trillion market cap, Google is using its market dominance to eliminate competition and undercut the industry standard terms we've successfully negotiated with every other distributor. We know how frustrating this is for YouTube TV subscribers and remain committed to working toward a resolution as quickly as possible. So it's bad form by both. And YouTube TV is probably going to hurt the most for this, because how many people are not, scrolling the internet as much as, for example, we are, and will turn on their YouTube TV on Saturday morning, fully prepared to watch College Game Day, and be greeted by one of these memos on YouTube TV saying, we no longer have these channels.
Tennessee, Oklahoma's ESPN, isn't it? Because Herb Street and Fowler are doing the game.
I believe that is the case. Of course, you could always listen to that on the Vol Network, which is free to you. Here on 104.5 The Zone. Well done by Ross. But I do believe that is an ESPN game this weekend.
No, it will not affect NFL during the day at all. 12 o'clock slate, 3 o'clock slate.
It will affect for those people that watch pregame shows, I don't know what the portion of the population that is.
But see, you can still watch CBS or Fox on pregame.
Right, but ESPN has a pregame show is what I'm saying. They don't have games on Sunday, but they do have a pregame show. So you can't watch the ESPN pregame show if that's something you like. Or you can't watch Monday Night Football as long as this goes on, which, again, is an annoyance. Unless you have, I assume NFL Plus would allow you, or cable. Like, you can watch it in the traditional places, but not on YouTube TV. So I'm in a spot where, like, me personally, I got no interest in unbundling or you're cutting the cord, because I like the cord. I like knowing that all of my stuff is going to be coming from one cord, all right? Cable and internet, I got it in one spot. I don't want to have to work hard. I know it costs more, whatever. I'm not sweating it. Now, I know that my position is not most people's position, and if there is an opportunity to save money, then of course you should explore those options. But, like, this is the kind of thing that you leave yourself open to and I'm not saying that you should pay for cable just because it's easier. Like, if it doesn't make sense for you financially, then don't. But it does put networks and content distributors in a position where they can take advantage of you this way, and where all of these things are scattered to the wind, and you're constantly having to jump from Peacock to ESPN Plus to YouTube TV to all these other things, and especially with the quad box feature that they now have on YouTube TV for college football Saturdays. It's great. It's awesome. I like it better than Red Zone because I can actually watch 4 games at once as opposed to just being jumped around all over the place. I hate Red Zone.
Well, I've used Sunday Ticket for about 5 years now, which obviously is now on YouTube TV, and it's great. But I believe for the games, obviously, you can watch them for free via the ESPN app, and all you need is an account for that, right? Like,
no, not for free. No, God, no. You think ESPN is making anything available for free? No, you have to pay for that.
You don't have to pay to watch on the app. All you got to do is get the app, make an account, put in your TV provider.
Yeah, what's your TV provider if you have YouTube TV?
That one, but like you still have the app, right?
Yeah, I do, but I can log in through my Xfinity. If I'm logging through my YouTube TV, then I can't get it on the ESPN app.
I'm going to do some digging because I'm logged in through my YouTube TV on the ESPN app.
Yeah, you're not going to get it.
Well, we'll see right now.
Well, there's no games on. Well, actually, I guess you could try and watch ESPN programming, Yeah, let's do that live experiment, and then we can do it during the commercial break. The point is, it's going to impact a variety of different people. And the people that suffer the most are the consumers. And you get caught up in this, and it's garbage by both sides. And ESPN has been getting away with highway robbery for a number of years, and now things are starting to regress to the mean. And YouTube TV is in a situation where they don't want to pay what all the other networks are paying because they shouldn't have to, because it shouldn't cost as much as it does. So, rocking a hard place. I don't know who budges first. I would think that YouTube TV would suffer the most because they are going to see a mass defection come the weekend if this situation is not resolved, and those people will likely not come back if they can't get their football immediately. We'll take a break. We'll take your phone calls. Ross will do some research. We'll continue to talk about this particular situation and also get into, we've got Friday Fire. Didn't think about that. I have Foo Fighter tickets to give away.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
I also just threw my bag. I'm sick of this thing.
No, that's not how this works. So I have Foo Fighter tickets to give away for a concert at Nissan in August.
August 15th, 2026, yes.
Well, yes, that would be the next August.
Well, it could be 27. You never know. We like to get ahead of these things.
Anyway, give me something positive. One positive thing that happened to you this weekend. It could be sports, it could be personal, it could be professional, or otherwise. Your Friday Fire, 615-737-1045 for the opportunity to win those Foo Fighter tickets. We'll give you ours. You give us yours. Coming up next. for the opportunity to win some Foo Fighter tickets. 615-737-1045. Give us your Friday Fire. What made you happy this week? There's a lot of bad in local sports. Preds lost again last night. Titans got the Chargers. Nobody's picking the Titans on Sunday. Vols, they got Oklahoma. They got a good shot. Vandy, a bit of a tougher test going to Texas right now. That line continues to move in favor of Texas as Ross tries to put his Halloween mask on backwards. What's your positivity, though? Doesn't have to be sports, just something good that happened to you. What I saw that made me happy this week was the Rare Titans thing that made me happy. Cam Ward and Tajay Spears visiting KIPP Nashville College Prep Elementary. So they do this Take a Titan to School thing, which is a cool function where schools can apply, teachers can apply on behalf of their students to have the Titans or Titans players come visit their school. And so Cam Ward and Tajay Spears did this on Tuesday, and they got to host a dodgeball tournament and an obstacle course for fourth graders at KIPP Nashville College Prep Elementary. It's a long name. But it's a really good thing because not only are some of those kids not going to be able to go to Titans games at some point, but there's very little reason to inspire the next generation of Titans fans. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not star power on this football team right now. If you're asking a fourth grader what they want to do on a Sunday, how many of them are going to say, yeah, let's go to a Titans game? You just watch it at home. It's way more cost effective. And the suffering is mitigated if you're doing it from your couch as opposed to in a stadium where you're exposed to the elements. You got to deal with the expenses, all these different things. But Cam Ward, it's a small gesture, right? And he was great. Him and Tajay seem to have a great time with it. He's kind of messing with the kids a little bit. He's not quite pelting them with dodgeballs like Peyton Manning in that SNL skit style, but kinda. He's got a good nature about him. It was cool to see. I think it made those kids very happy based on the video assets that the Titans did produce from that. So well done by Cam, well done by Tajay, well done by the Titans. The Rare Titans thing that I've said positive at any point, basically since training camp. How about that?
Well, that's something. My Friday Fire, if I can situate this properly.
All right, just take the damn bag off. If you're going to be dramatic about it every time you have to speak, just take the damn bag off.
My Friday Fire is college basketball coming back next week. I'm very excited about it. The Duke Blue Devils, my team, they play Texas in their first game next Tuesday in Charlotte. Very excited for that.
You're not going to be able to watch it because you have YouTube TV.
We're going to figure it out. I won't say what I told you during the break, but there's been some great exhibitions as well. Duke and Tennessee played, Kansas, Louisville, BYU, North Carolina, Kentucky, Purdue. It's going to be a very exciting season in college hoops, I think, and there's a very strong freshman class as well, so I'm excited to see how it goes this year.
All right, so yours is selfish.
I mean, don't we all get to watch college hoops?
Yeah, I know I'm excited. Well, am I excited?
That's a good Are you excited?
I don't know.
How do you think they will fare this year?
The roster completely turned over year, which may not be a bad thing, and anybody but Mike Woodson, dusty old. Anyway.
Your coach is good. I like your coach.
Yeah, but there have been plenty of coaches who have been good at their previous spots, and then they get to a big boy job like Indiana, and they poop themselves. So, spare me I'm not hyping anything up on the front end. I want a good basketball product. I would trade the number 2 ranked college football team in the country in a heartbeat for a team that was just competitive in the Big Ten.
Sounds like you just picked the wrong team in Indiana to root for in college basketball.
Literally the entire state. That's all they care about. Before Peyton Manning, nobody cared about football. Cared about IndyCar and basketball. That's it. That's all. Notre Dame football. Anyway. 615-737-1045 is the number. What's your Friday Fire? Let's start with Eric in Bell Buckle.
Hey, Buck.
Hey.
Hey, my daughter, man, she's a basketball cheerleader at Webb School here in Bell Buckle.
Yeah, I know Webb.
And, she started playing guitar about a year and a half ago. And so anyways, they asked her if she anthem before one of the games Tuesday night. So, man, she got out there with a guitar strapped on her, right by everybody on the basketball court, and jammed out the national anthem. And it was, you talk about proud dad moment, man. That was it.
That's awesome. Congratulations to her and to your family. That's really special. Remember to say, go ahead.
Oh, and she loves Dave. And a shameless plug. She loves Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. So, man, if she were to win these tickets because of just having the guts to get out there and play that anthem in front of the school, man, it would absolutely. She would just scream. She'd go crazy.
It's a really strong submission by Eric. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those tickets. Look at Eric scaring people off the lines because it's tough to beat the daughter that goes out there, plays the national anthem, and is a Dave Grohl fan.
The door is still cracked open, in my opinion.
Just barely.
I didn't like the little plug at the end. But
the shameless plug?
Yeah.
I mean, he said it was shameless. It was shameless.
That's
but,
true.
you know.
I think the door's cracked open.
I get it.
Great submission, though.
Yes, well done. Rick in Nashville next.
Hey, Buck. Yeah, I've got a Friday fire for you.
Go ahead.
I had two things happen to me that were good this month.
Now you got to pick the best one. Pick the best one.
Well, last month I dropped YouTube TV.
Oh.
So I don't have to pay their $90 a month. And then on your show just a few minutes ago, I heard that they dropped ESPN. So I laughed and I got to say, hey, I don't care anymore. I'm not playing their games.
I love that for you.
For what it's worth, I have a daughter as well, so I'll take her to the Foo Fighters.
No, you can't leverage your children. See what you've done, Eric? Thank you for the call, Rick. Remember to stay on hold. That's a funny one by Rick. I like that. Chris is next.
Hey, Buck, how you doing, man? Tough to beat that national anthem, man. That's a tough one. But firefighting for me, just moved into a house with my girlfriend, and she's asked me to do some handyman stuff. I'm a basic amateur electrician at this point because I changed the ceiling fan out for a chandelier, changed some switches out, and didn't burn the house down. So, in fact, it's kind of opposite of a Friday fire, but feeling pretty good about myself, man.
Well, I love that for you. Well done by Chris. I've never been what anybody's definition of handy is.
That was a pretty good submission.
It is a good submission. I like that one by Chris. These are strong. We've got a good prize. People are bringing it today. Well done. Harley in West Nashville.
Hey, I got a good one. I was having family dinner with my 98-year-old grandfather and then my 60-year-old dad Saturday night after the Vandy had just won their game. And I was talking about it, and it's like, yeah, this is obviously the best Vanderbilt's been in my lifetime. I'm 24. And my dad said, yeah, this is the best they've been in his lifetime. And then my grandpa looks at me, and he was around in the late 40s whenever they were evidently ranked. Who knows? I wasn't around then. But he looks and said, yep, this is the best I've seen him.
That's awesome.
For almost 100 years of Vanderbilt football fandom, this is the best they've ever been. So pretty cool moment as a Vandy fan.
Love that for you. Generations of Vandy fans getting to celebrate. We'll see if they can't beat Texas on Saturday. Damn, you guys are going to make it hard on me. I thought we had a lock in Eric right out the gate. It's a good one.
Has this ever happened before?
What, consecutive good calls? No, famously not.
4 for 4 right now. So,
all right, one more for Craig, and then we will pick a winner. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, my Friday fire is for my wife's 50th birthday. Probably shouldn't give her age, but for her birthday. But my shameless plug for that one is that for her birthday next weekend, we are going out to Las Vegas for the New Kids on the Block residency. So I could use some Foo Fighter tickets to get over that.
Thank you for the call, Craig. I appreciate it. All right.
Eric unleashed Pandora's box with that shameless plug.
Yeah, we let that one get out of hand. All right, so we got Eric, whose daughter just got to recently play the national anthem and has learned guitar. We've got Rick, who dropped YouTube TV before YouTube TV dropped sports. Chris, who is a first-time homeowner and a first-time home improvement type of guy. Harley, with the generations of Vandy fandom, being able to celebrate all at once, which is awesome. And Craig, whose wife is, it's her birthday.
Looks like Harley dropped, so he's out.
Okay, Harley out.
I like Eric still.
I do too. Even if he opened the door with the shameless plug thing. So well done by Eric. We hope that you and your daughter enjoy. Make sure you take your daughter now. Don't just tell me you're going to take your daughter now.
We might need evidence.
I know. Tag us on social media, some form of social media, so I know. I need verification here. But it's a cool story, and we're happy for you. And you can always call us on Fridays for the opportunity to win cool prizes like Foo Fighter tickets. Coming up next, Brett Kern picks football. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. It is Halloween. Your costume should be scary, not your retirement. Trajan Wealth can help take the fear out of financial planning, which is why you should call today for a free consultation. It's one thing to save for retirement. It's another to feel ready for it. Trajan Wealth will help you build a real plan with less guesswork and more peace of mind. They explain everything to you. They'll give you options, and they'll never once try to sell you something that you don't need. Trajan Wealth is there to give you a clear path forward. So call them today at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
Happy Halloween from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. Week 9 in the NFL kicked off last night as the Miami Dolphins hosted the Ravens. The Ravens took the win 28-6 as Lamar Jackson threw for 4 touchdowns in his first game back from injury. 2 of those were to tight end Mark Andrews. The Ravens also forced 3 turnovers on the night, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception from rookie safety Malachi Starks. Also, in some quick NFL news, the Jaguars placed wide receiver / defensive back Travis Hunter on injured reserve after a knee injury he suffered in practice. Per Tom Pelissero, and the Miami Dolphins have agreed to mutually part ways with general manager Chris Grier. They also announced that head coach Mike McDaniel will remain in that position for the rest of the season. The Tennessee Titans host the Chargers on Sunday in Nashville. Kickoff is set for noon Central with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff starting here on The Zone at 9 a.m., followed by Titans radio pregame coverage at 11. The number 14 Tennessee Vols host the number 18 Oklahoma Sooners in a playoff elimination matchup tomorrow as both teams have 2 losses. Kickoff is set for 6:30 p.m. Central, and you can listen to Mike Keith and Ramon Foster of Vol Network broadcast the game right here on The Zone. Lastly, the number 9 ranked Vanderbilt Commodores take a trip to Austin as they face the number 20 Texas Longhorns in an SEC clash. Texas comes into the game with 2 losses, which will put their playoff lives at stake, but they are also currently favored by 3 points, and kickoff is set for 11 a.m. Central tomorrow. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour is upon us. We'll pick some games with Brett Kern, who's in studio, as is the custom on Mondays and Fridays in the noon hour, which lends a bit of credibility that the show does not, ever have under normal circumstances.
Yeah, I am in the dilemma of this YouTube garbage junk that's going, figure it out.
Who are you most mad at?
Both. you're both billion-dollar companies. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And I have Sunday Ticket, so it's not like I can drop, I can't drop YouTube. I could. Whatever. I don't know. Then what do I do?
You could be like Ross with a bag over your head that says, "We ass." It's his Halloween costume. He's a Titans fan.
Those eyes are very wide.
So far apart. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
nobody can hear you.
Didn't you make it yourself, though?
No, I did not.
Oh.
No, one of the WTN producers dropped it off. It was like, hey, we were using this the other day. So even the conservative talk station down the hall is poking fun at the Titans at this point.
Well, got the Chargers to cover.
That's right. Yeah, we are not picking the Titans game because Brett is tired of picking the Titans opponent to cover.
Good news, though, my guy, Champ Kelly, down in Miami getting the interim GM job. Really happy for him.
So if you're not familiar with the news today, the Dolphins have fired their general manager, Chris Grier, who has been there for quite some time at this point. And listen, the roster is in a state where if you are externally pointing fingers, I think it was fair to look at Chris Grier first, and we'll see what happens with Mike McDaniel after the fact. But Champ Kelly, as you mentioned, is the interim GM, and you know him from your time together in Denver.
Yeah, he was second, third-year scout in Denver, and he was the only guy when I was at the East-West Shrine game. He was the only scout that actually talked to me during that whole week, which was it was pretty interesting process, just how that all works, those games and those all-star games. And, you kind of go into a huge ballroom. You sit down and scouts and whoever can come talk to you and ask you really anything they want, even about other teammates and that are down there. And so Champ, he was the only one that talked to me that whole week. And he was just kind of my ray of sunshine in a pretty difficult week. We didn't have a long snapper because they forgot to sign one. So that was pretty frustrating.
For the Shrine game?
Yeah. And so they had like 2 tight ends. They had 2 tight ends snapping, which didn't go great. And I'm thinking, this is my one opportunity. I didn't get a combine invite. It was pretty rough. And then I went to a camp over the summer before my senior year, and there was a snapper out of Wake Forest. His name lost his name, but I literally remember talking to the director of East West, and I said, "Hey, there's this kid out of Wake Forest. Like, if he could come and snap, that'd be great. And I think that was on Monday, and he came in Wednesday for the game. I think it was on Friday or Saturday or something like that.
That's crazy.
But Champ, he was kind of my ray of sunshine that week. And, I obviously got to Denver, and he was the one when I was released. His job, the kind of Grim Reaper job, was to come in and obviously get me out the locker room. And he didn't show up that morning. He showed up a little late. So it was kind of awkward. That was his job to come get me. And he was just like, I don't understand why we're letting Brett go.
So he held out of work essentially in protest.
He protested for an hour, right? He couldn't obviously skip work, but he protested. And I remember,
you tell this guy why we're cutting him.
Yeah, and I remember going in the special teams. I didn't have my binder, at my locker, which I thought there's no iPads or anything like that. And Prater was just like, "Oh man, you're a punter. Who cares? No big deal." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I walk into the special teams meeting, and the special teams coach is like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm the punter." He goes, "Yeah, you actually need to go back in the locker room." And that's when I realized, like, crap.
I'm not the punter.
I'm not the punter anymore. And then another, like an equipment guy was in the locker room, and even he was like, "Hey, what's going? Like, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "Why is everybody saying this to me?" And then another scout came and got me. Came up, McDaniels said what he said. Packed up my locker and my trash bag and started heading out. And the GM was actually coming into work at that point. This was like 7 in the morning, 7:30. And he was coming in. He's like, "Hey, Brett, where are you going with that bag?" I'm like, "I just got cut." So, and he had no idea because McDaniels had all the roster control as a head coach, first-year head coach, being early 30s. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So
what is your psyche like at that point from like just the Shrine Bowl experience? Because you're a young player.
Yeah.
And Brett, I think people don't really understand that's a far more common experience for all the different kind of players that come through the NFL as opposed to the guys with the first-round draft pedigree or even day 2 picks, right? Like, that's not something that happens to those dudes, but there's so many other specialists, UDFAs, other guys in situations like that.
Practice squad guys now that are, almost weekly jobs. And, and I mean, it was, my second year, and it was 6 games into the season, was having a pretty good start. And, I'd only been married for a little over a year, and our son, Bryce, was 6 weeks old. And so to come home and, tell her, I was like, I don't have a job anymore, which in some cases was kind of relieving. This is before some of the rule changes and all that. And, I was in the building from 6 to 6, almost 7 o'clock, and would come home and just watch TV and go to bed. Like, it was brutal. Like, it was not great.
Sure. One could hardly blame you.
But yeah, so, I got released, and thankfully I'm just super blessed to come here, with Alan Lowry, Coach Fisher, Craig Hendrick was on IR. And so my psyche was just all over the place. Like, it was my real first business experience of what the NFL is. And obviously Craig helped me out tremendously. Alan was great, and just kind of getting me acclimated. And, his expectations were laid out in front of me. So, but Champ's just texted him earlier this week, and we obviously stay in touch, and I'm rooting for him 100%.
I want to bring this up with you because you talk about the experience or getting that business experience in the NFL. Like, there's guys who get later into their career before they get there. Chig Okonkwo is now in year 4. I want to play this audio that we played earlier in the week, Brett. You may have heard it or seen it, of Chig Okonkwo talking about being the last player left from the last 3 John Robinson drafts, 2022. This was Chig Okonkwo, current Titans tight end.
Has that been something that hits you at all? Is that something you reflect on at all? I remember back when we first got out there, I was wondering who's going to be the last one standing, and it's me. So that's got to stand for something that I've done here. So I think that's pretty cool. It is weird, all my friends are slowly fading away, but I'm happy for Roger. I'm happy for Jarvis, getting on, being able to, take a talent somewhere else. But I'm not too worried about it. Just trying to play ball.
What do you think the future holds for you here? It's a big week. This is a big week.
We'll see this week, man. I'm going to go out there and try to make sure I stay a Titan for life.
All my friends are fading away is a crazy line. But that's relatable.
Yeah.
For you guys.
It is. I mean, I tell people sometimes, I feel like the thing I'm most proud about in over my career is that I was able to be here under 5 coaches, 3 GMs, because really, I mean, the roster turnover, you're starting to see it a little bit. And obviously with how things have been going the last couple of years, is like the roster turnover is 30-40% every year. And you start stacking that, over being here just 4 years. Like, that's not even, I mean, that's great for him. It's great for Chig, but 4 years, he's already seen the roster turnover and the guys that he's like, man, I'm the last man standing, right? Imagine, for me, 13 years here, like it's a lot. So, you start, the no friends league, the no fun league. I mean, it's all
no friends league,
the no loyalty league. It's real, and it's just a business. And obviously the GMs, they come in and they want their people, they want their draft picks, they want their signings, and it's not just here. I mean, that's everywhere.
We're going to do a little bit of Titans analysis. Titans host the Chargers on Sunday at Nissan Stadium before they go on their Week 10 bye. We'll also pick some games with our buddy Brett Kern, Titans legend, coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Lucas is in here not working.
At all. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's mean.
Brett came in so fast and
so
said at all.
I'm sorry. He can't defend himself. Did a great job last night. Oakland, Riverdale. We watched.
I fear that good-natured Brett Kern is being infected by the show because we take each other out here at any opportunity.
Locker room banter.
It was a side swipe. Locker room talk. Different kind of locker room talk. Brett Kern is in studio with us. Lucas is here.
Early morning.
He did fill in for Will, who I think is doing a track meet today or something like that. Something on SEC Network.
How do you radio over the track?
No, I think it's like ESPN2 track meet. I don't know the specifics.
That's not on YouTube.
It's not on YouTube TV. You are correct.
Best of luck trying to watch that.
Lucas, somebody sitting on the YouTube chat said Lucas came in just to eat his lunch next to Brett. Probably, Lucas.
We have nothing.
I know. No Robert, no Lucas means no food in the studio.
And I wore this shirt for Robert.
Oh, for Derek. I mean, there are a few things that make me happier than Derrick Henry in the open field. And they were getting him a little bit behind the line of scrimmage last night. Like there is a way to stop Derrick if you can make him reset his feet.
In the backfield, yep.
In the backfield, but after a while.
If you don't.
Yeah,
there are
break you down.
Multiple business decisions that occur, and it's pretty obvious to see.
There were multiple in the second half last night for sure. Josh Norman, that decision was made for him. If you're not watching on Zone TV today, Brett Kern has a Derrick Henry stiff arm. Josh Norman, the best stiff arm of Derrick Henry's career that didn't actually count because it was a penalty on the play. I can't remember the penalty. But it wasn't a Derrick penalty. It was a penalty on
Taylor Lewan?
That sounds right. Who also had plenty of moments with Josh Norman in a different uniform during.
That was was this the Tuesday? I'm trying to remember. Was this the Tuesday Night Fun COVID?
That one?
Yeah.
That I think was the Tuesday night game.
Yeah.
They were supposed to play the Steelers, right? And then
it's all a blur.
Well, they did end up playing the Steelers because both teams were 4-0 at the time when the Titans and the Steelers, when you all ended up meeting in the COVID year. And then, oh my God, who was that poor corner Ben Roethlisberger, decrepit Ben Roethlisberger at that point in his career was just picking apart and got benched on the first drive. What is his name? It's going to make me.
He was going to Deontay Johnson. I know that. And he was tearing him up.
Before Deontay Johnson decided he was just going to quit on teams.
Toledo product.
This was a different time. All right. So let's do the rare bit of Titans analysis. Today, I feel bad for Brett Kern and Nate Washington and Ben Jones because I signed them up for a full football season of talking with us. And, the football season has ceased to matter. But
Bye week next week.
Amen, brother. Yeah, I'm leaving you with Lucas and Robert. I'm going to South Beach. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Good for you.
I need the sun. I need the beach at this
I
point.
Wish it would have been Evansville.
Me go to Evansville for the bye week?
Yes.
No, you can't even get me to go there on a normal basis. You did point something out prior to us starting to talk about this that is a fact that is not normally associated with the Chargers, but this year is at least part of the analysis around them.
Yeah, I mean, Herbert's doing obviously leading the league in passing attempts, yards per game. I mean, we could go on about his accolades so far this season. Allen, Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Gadsden seems to be a new target.
Ageless wonder, Keenan Allen.
Yeah, fantasy football for Bryce.
Oh,
told him to go get him because he has 70 targets, 48 receptions, and averaging 10 per. I mean, he's doing great. 31 first down grabs for Keenan. So obviously, between him and Ladd, that's where he's thrown to for first downs. And the thing too about Herbert is, I think he's rushed for almost 300 yards. I mean, he's the Minnesota Viking games, 7 rushes for 62 yards. And we've kind of talked about that. Drake May and some of the other guys that have really helped themselves out with being able to rush and kind of take a little pressure off, whether the running game or just in the pass game. So obviously he's doing all the great things, especially through the air. Their run game's kind of middle of the road. Obviously they're kind of beat up at running back. But Vidal obviously did a great job the last game against the Vikings. But the one thing, he's been sacked 22 times, right? Which is a lot. And he's thrown 7 picks, which is up there. Geno, and Jake Browning, who obviously is not playing, but Joe Flacco's right behind him. Like it goes Herbert and then Joe Flacco. So he's up there in interceptions, and they have the 3 losses that they have. All 3 they've lost a turnover margin, right? Giants, Commanders, Colts. They've lost a turnover margin, and the other game where they lost the turnover margin 2-0 to Denver. Denver had 10 penalties for 90 yards, which is insane. But also, Chargers were very efficient in throwing the ball, running the ball. So, the 2 turnovers, you're not statistically percentage chance supposed to win that game. But when you only have 3 penalties and the other team has 10, it's probably going to work out in your favor in some way, shape, or form. So it's unfortunate because I feel like the Colts, and their offense and their efficiency is rolling. If that's like the standard, the A standard. Kind of how the Bolts are going right now is that's kind of like A-, B+. And unfortunately, if the Titans were fully healthy, if you had Big Jeff in there, Sweat working together, you didn't trade away 2 corners, and you were healthy. If this was a healthy defense, I do feel like this defense would be able to have some opportunities against the Chargers in this offense. So, and they kind of have a middle of the road defense, right? Bend don't break. They're in the middle of the road, like in a lot of categories defensively. So it's frustrating because obviously they're going to come to town against our depleted defense, and really they shouldn't have any problems being able to move the ball efficiently, whether it's running, especially through the air with how efficient Herbert's been this year, and obviously with his legs. You saw Drake May, what he was able to do, keeping drives alive a couple weeks ago, and
they remind me of each other.
Very similar, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, they're gettable. They're 5-3, and their 3 losses obviously happened just because they lost the turnover margin, and it's pretty hard to overcome turnovers when you're losing that battle. But it's frustrating, knowing the defense that they'll be putting out there on Sunday. But like I said, they're going to play hard. Just kind of see how long they can stay in the game. It seems like it's been a first half. Going for a first half, and then they just struggle in the second half. But maybe this week's different. We'll see. I have hope.
I love that for you.
I still think the Chargers covered the 9.5. But
that bit of analysis and your hope do not mesh.
I know.
It's tough. How many former Titans are on this roster? Bud Dupree, Hassan Haskins, Elijah Molden, and Pop Tart. Old T.R. Tart. That might be my favorite nickname of any Titans
we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Do you remember Bobby Hart's stint with the Titans?
No.
Titans legend.
Used him on Immaculate Grid this week.
Bobby Hart?
I did. Yep.
Did you?
Or maybe it was Gridiron Grid, but it was Titans Bengals, and Bobby Hart was a unicorn. So
good pull by you.
You're probably so good at that game.
And then Bobby Hart, I think the same season, ended up on the Bills, and then the Titans played at the Bills, and Jeff and Bobby Hart got into a bit of a bit of an altercation in the tunnel because for some reason Buffalo has both teams going into the same tunnel at half.
There's only one tunnel there. You're going in and out the same way.
I mean, there are fireworks always in the tunnel at Buffalo. Also, isn't Green Bay? No.
Green Bay has a separate where the Packers go. You kind of go.
It's that like tiny little hallway they shoved the
You're
visiting
claustrophobic.
team in.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It is tight.
There's a
single file.
There's a picture that Donald Page, the team photographer, got a couple of years ago of, I think it was that Thursday night football game, where Jeff and Derek Henry are coming down that hallway, that tiny little hallway at the same time, and they're the 2 of the biggest human beings you've ever seen in your life. It looks like photoshopped. They look so out and just uncomfortably tight in that space. Anyway,
I'd say 4 feet, 5 feet max, that tunnel.
Don't love that. That would make me claustrophobic.
It's a long, every bit of 30 yards.
Yeah.
It's home field advantage right there.
All right.
Mind games.
Should paint it pink.
All right, you ready to pick some games?
Sure.
All right, Ross, don't screw it up.
I thought you wanted to play the T-Sweat thing.
Oh, no, I forgot about that. Basically, Sweat calling Justin Herbert the perfect quarterback because he's tall and white.
And fast.
Very good. Next.
All right. Well, we'll start in the SEC here, Brett. It looks like your first line has actually changed. Vanderbilt was 2.5-point dogs, and I'm seeing 3 on DraftKings now. I don't know what other sites have.
Yeah.
Vandy, 3-point dogs to Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Texas offense has been inconsistent this year at best. And what can make an inconsistent offense even have more troubles? And thankfully, Vandy's pass rush, 21st in pressure rate in the country this year, and Texas is sitting bottom of the SEC in sacks given up. So I'll be interested to see that kind of matchup. Really, for a special team standpoint, if Texas and Ryan Niblett, 79-yard punt return last week, obviously to help mount that comeback at State. And I believe they were up 13-6 in the Red River, and he had a 75-yarder as well against Oklahoma that kind of, put Texas ahead of that game big time. So, if Vandy can protect the ball, if they can run effectively enough against this front of Texas to help Diego through the air, and really, honestly, just don't punt it to Niblett. I think they can go down there. I think they'll cover. I saw 3.5. I think Vandy wins it.
I would take Vandy to cover. I think they can keep it within 3. Because the thing that gets lost in the Texas comeback is that Texas had to come back in that game. Like, they were trailing the entire time.
Right.
And Arch had a good day, and it looks like he's clear of the concussion protocol. At least he was making good progress. He was practicing. He's listed officially as questionable on the, what do they call them? They don't call them injury reports in college. Availability report. God forbid we call them injury reports.
Doesn't it spook you all a little, too, that Texas is favored in this game?
Well, they were favored in the Red River, and I was like, there's no way. And I picked Oklahoma. Clearly, I lost that one. But obviously, Vegas knows something. Obviously, for them to be, anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5, depending, what sportsbook you're going with. But Vandy knows what they want. They go in there. They try to bully you around, and if they do that, obviously they didn't do it against Bama, but if they go in there and do that, I mean, Texas, I think they win it.
Yeah, Pavia is not necessarily elevating the rest of his team right now in terms of what he's able to do on the field. Like, obviously, the ethos of Pavia gives great energy and effort and all those different things. That's an intangible that does matter for a team like Vandy. I would take them to keep it within 3. I would take Texas to. If I was betting, I will bet Texas money line.
Very good. Rivalry down in Jacksonville, Georgia, 7-point favorites over the Florida Gators this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, new interim coach Billy Gonzalez with Florida. I don't know how they respond. It could be great. It could be not great. Florida's bottom of the SEC in offense and defense, and Lagway's had his moments, but, very inconsistent this year. But honestly, I think, the Bulldogs just have a lot more to play for. They're chasing A&M, Bama, and Ole Miss in the SEC standings. So, I think 7 and 7.5. I think Georgia really has no problem with this one, just because that's what Ben Jones told me to say.
We can't have a legend of the game, by the way, on Sunday, Ben Jones.
What's he going to say? I have to ask him.
Don't they just tell you guys to say 1, 2, 3, tighten up or whatever?
That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. When are you doing it?
Saints game.
Oh.
Because I'm a Titans in my heart.
No, but the Saints?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the season.
Maybe we'll come out and play the Yin Yang Twins and get crunk.
And
we'll see if that works.
Okay. Well, the good news is they're doing it at the start of the second quarter anymore.
Yeah,
so.
They originally told me third quarter. I was like, oh, okay, well. And then when I went to the Patriots game and Bo scaped at the end of the first, I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yep.
I'll do whatever. You know what? Second quarter, halftime. You need me to be a halftime show? Well, I'm all there for it.
You're a good man. I will take Georgia to cover, obviously, to win. I think Florida's defense has been carrying them all season long. I think Gunnar Stockton has been awesome so far this season. Now, can Georgia get a stop is the curious part because, I mean, obviously they're not facing an offense like they did against Ole Miss or anything like that, but Georgia's defense, it's just such an inverted Georgia football team.
Did you see that picture of Stockton with that gator over his shoulders with his uncle?
No.
He goes gator trapping.
Sure,
this thing was easily 7-8 foot gator over his shoulders, and I'm like, yeah, it's game over.
All right, well, Georgia by 100 at this point in time.
You go gator trapping.
All right, faster, Ross.
Okay, I'm going to flip over to the Big 12, save the biggest game in the state for last. Utah and Cincinnati, a top 25 matchup. Utah 10.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
A top 25 game.
Yeah, I think for Cincinnati to win and to cover, at least, the 10.5, go to Salt Lake. They got to protect the quarterback, run the ball, win the turnover margin. And so to say that, Cincinnati has allowed the fewest sacks through 8 games this year in the country. They're also 8th in the country in rushing yards per carry. And they also have the 3rd fewest turnovers in the country. Cincinnati's on a roll. 7 wins in a row for the Bearcats after a week 1 loss to Nebraska and Minnie Mahomes. So I feel like Cincinnati can go to Salt Lake and cover.
10.5 feels like too big of a line at this point. Utah is. It's a really, they're just a tough team. Kyle Whittingham always has tough, gritty football teams, but it's too big of a line in that kind of situation. I'll take Cincy plus the 10.5 too.
All right, biggest game in the state tomorrow. The Vols host Oklahoma and are 3-point favorites in that matchup over the Sooners.
Yeah, Oklahoma's D, obviously a little exposed last week versus Ole Miss, giving up 34 points, and Chambliss thrown for 315.
I love Trinidad Chambliss, by the way.
Yeah, he's a dog. UT's got the number 1 offense in the SEC, but, OU's got the number 1 defense. UT's 513 a game, but OU's only giving up 240 a game, so I'll be curious to see how that works out. It might be tough to run against this D of OU, but Coach Mack said it, and if he says it, you listen. There's holes in the secondary. So I think Joey can slice and dice with his weapons. Obviously all 3 receivers last week going over 100 yards, and Staley Matthews and Brazil. So, the Oklahoma O goes as Mateer goes. So hopefully UT can kind of fix the issues from UK, giving up 476 yards last week, and just really just make it difficult on Mateer, who's struggling. I think 30% of the time they're 3 and out. So night mode, Nealon. This is a huge game. Whoever loses this is out. So I think that's a huge advantage for UT. So I like UT.
Yeah, home field. It's overwhelming. And to your point about you don't want to be the team that Oklahoma gets right against. I just don't think that Kentucky obviously was able to put up points on that defense and still got dog walked, right? It's just Oklahoma's not Kentucky, and obviously they'll have to keep things on track as an offense with Tennessee. But I'm curious to see what Brent Venables throws at them, but the pressure that they bring puts their secondary that's not able to hold up, as you said, in a lot of disadvantageous situations, and they haven't really adjusted for that.
Right.
And if you're gutting it out every week the way that they are on offense, I think Tennessee by a lot.
Yeah, and I also know too, since Mateer's come back, he was 70%, mid-70s, and now his last 3 games he's almost around 56, 57%. So he says it's not the thumb, but obviously something happened. So UT.
All right, NFL, we got the AFC South leading Indianapolis Colts going to the AFC North leading Pittsburgh Steelers.
League leading Indianapolis Colts.
That's true. Colts 3-point favorites in that game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Colts trying to score 30-plus points for the 7th time this season, leading the league, almost 34 points a game, which is crazy. Steelers D's coming off allowing 33-plus in the last 2 games. Tucker Kraft, Sunday Night Football, 7 for 143, 2 tutters. So, of course, you go from Tucker Kraft to Tyler Warren. That's awesome for them. But, the Colts, they ranked 24th in yards allowed, 30th on third down defense, which obviously they're ahead in a lot of games. So, they're getting thrown on a lot. But can Rodgers and the Steelers keep up with this Indy offense? Crazy. Jonathan Taylor has 14 TDs this year.
6 of them are against the Titans.
Which is equal or more than 5 NFL teams. You want to take a stab?
No, just tell me.
Okay. Browns.
That's disgusting.
Browns, Saints, Falcons, Raiders, and the Titans.
Yes. Your Tennessee Titans.
How about the Jets there beating out Jonathan Taylor?
Good for
Impressive.
them.
The Jets apparently can put up 40 and look like a professional NFL offense.
Well, what? How many did they have last week against the Bengals alone? 6?
5 touchdowns, I believe.
5, I believe.
I went to Toledo. My math, I can't figure that out quick enough mathematically.
Oh, God, don't ask us. Pittsburgh's defense is one of the least efficient in football. The Colts are obviously the opposite. They are overwhelming as a unit right now. They just have so many different options that can beat you. And the thing about them, Brett, which is going to be the only thing that I feel like can stop the Colts is health. They're healthy. They're incredibly healthy.
This is the time of year, too, where, they've been indoors for some games. Obviously going to Pittsburgh. I'm not 100% sure where the weather is, but, Pittsburgh, start of November, it could be 40s, maybe low 50s. So, and the field there is awful. It's probably the worst in the league right now. So I'd be curious to see if that plays anything. But you got a run game, and they travel with it. Best of luck.
All right, we got the Houston Texans hosting the Broncos. Texans favored by 1.5 in that game.
Yeah, low-scoring game here. You got Houston, who's first in the league, only allowing 14 points a game, and Denver's fifth, allowing only 18 points a game. Houston's first in the NFL, only allowing 266 per game total yards, and Denver's fifth. So obviously the defenses here are the matchup. Denver leads the league in sacks with 36. Houston's tied with the Titans with 16 sacks. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. No Patrick Surtain, for the Broncos, and they're a team that leads the league in playing man 60% of the time. So I'll be curious to see if they switch up. If they stay in man, kind of go to more zone coverage. The Texans are 1-4 against the spread versus teams with winning records this season. But both teams are coming off a solid win. Dallas, for Denver and San Francisco. So I think the Broncos cover this 1.5.
Yeah, Broncos straight up, and I would probably bet the under. The under's 39.5. It's unbelievable in a pro football game.
Yeah.
Houston has no business being favored. Like, that's just nonsense. Their offense is suspect, especially against that front that Denver has. And somebody on the YouTube chat brings up are the Broncos the luckiest team in the NFL? I don't know, man. Just when I start to think about that, Bo Nix goes out there and plays his best game of the season.
That's what we talked about last week. I said, man, what is this team? Are they luck? And then they go out and absolutely destroy Dallas. So,
and Dallas is terrible on defense, so I don't want to look too much into that. But I mean, but that's the thing. Like, you're going to have moments where you get lucky, and you're going to have moments where you get unlucky, and all of a sudden you've got a penalty and the Colts are within field goal range, and you lose that game. Yeah. It's the nature of the NFL. But again, Broncos money line.
All right, kind of an interesting line here, too. The Niners on the road at the Giants, favored by 2.5.
Oh, this is a trap game. Yes. Trap betting game, trap game, all of the traps.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm curious to see how the team responds after losing Scadaboo with the injury that he had, dislocated ankle, fractured tib. That was pretty nasty. But Dart has a 105.8 passer rating when the pocket's clean. 53.8 under pressure, which is interesting because the 49ers have the worst pressure rate in the NFL in the season so far. So
they have no players left.
I'll be curious to see, if Robert Saleh decides to put some pressure on Dart, because that's a pretty substantial difference as far as passer rating goes. And obviously without Neighbors on IR, Scadaboo on IR, obviously that should favor the Niners. I don't know. I could definitely see the Giants coming out and taking care of business, but for some reason, I feel like the Niners are going to win by field goal and cover.
I will take the Giants plus the 2.5.
I'm terrible at this NFL thing, so yeah, it's great. Sounds great. Just do opposite what I do, and you'll be in great shape.
No, I mean, nobody's good at betting the NFL. That's why the gambling industry is what it is. What last one?
Last one real quick. Probably the most exciting game this weekend. Chiefs and Buffalo. Chiefs favored by 1.5 at Buffalo. Mahomes and Allen.
Game of the season.
Yeah. Bills D, I mean, they looked much improved versus Carolina, forcing 3 turnovers. And, Buffalo's the best rushing attack in the NFL. Cook had 19 for 216 last week. But that's Carolina, not the Chiefs. Chiefs have scored 28 points or more in their last 5 games. Having Rashee Rice, you could tell it's definitely opened it back up. It's opened it up for Travis Kelce. He had 6 for 99. Rashee Rice had 9 for 93 last week, and both had touchdowns. Chiefs are now, they've quietly gone into top 10 in rushing, passing, and points per game as well. We talked about it when Buffalo's playing New England. I said Highmark Stadium. They won like 13 or 14 in a row. Huge home field advantage until the New England Brables showed up and took care of business. So I don't know. I just think that the way the Chiefs are playing right now, it's going to be a very close game, but I could see the Chiefs, winning by a field goal here.
I'll take the Bills plus the 1.5. The Bills win in the regular season. The Chiefs win in the postseason.
That's a great point that I thought about and clearly did not decide to account into my picks.
It's okay. We couldn't do all the same things.
I think we pretty much, what do we have together? Are the Colts the only game that we really agreed upon?
In the NFL, yeah.
Yeah.
Brett Kern.
Congratulations. You're going to have a great week.
I love how y'all are staying away from the 14-point Rams Saints.
No, I don't want that.
Cowardly.
I don't want anything to do with
what's
that.
the spread in that one?
14.
14.5.
Where's it at?
Rams.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Both are in. Well, no.
They have no
fans, though. There's
LA's open. It's surprising. It can get a little windy in there sometimes.
It's just such a cavernous building. It's ridiculous.
Now that they have Roger McCreary, I like the Rams to cover.
Pick 6. Watch it.
Oh, my God. No, the internet would, at least the local internet would explode. Brett Kern, always good to spend.
Roger McCreary, pick 6, which allows him to cover and win by 17. There you go.
Book it. And when it doesn't happen,
then whatever.
He's
Doesn't
not
matter.
on social media. You can't get
social
him.
media. Can't get me.
Joke's on you. I hope YouTube TV figures it out for you before this weekend, because otherwise I don't know how you'll watch your games to make your picks or to see your picks pan out. But we do appreciate you coming in, buddy. And I have Titans and Actives coming up next.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
I hate you. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. For some reason, every time Ross is on the show, he insists, no matter the date, no matter the actual holiday, on playing Run, Run, Rudolph. Why?
We were playing this in July.
It's a good, yeah, I'm aware. Because when we're at training camp, you're on the board, and for some reason, you want to hear Run, Run, Rudolph in July. We're about to be inundated with Christmas music starting tomorrow. You can't wait a day.
It's such a good song, and I'm so glad that you put it in your playlist for the board.
You think I put any of this music in? I don't know how to do anything.
Buck-Run Run Rudolph. So,
it just means it's done on my behalf. It doesn't mean I did it.
Good job with that.
Last call for phone calls if you got them. 615. Just take that damn wee ass bag off your head and field these last phone calls so we can get on with our Friday and get these people closer to their weekend. A couple of different news items, because I did mention to you that I have Titans inactives at this point. I also have a little bit of NFL news. So, starting with the Titans, ruled out for Sunday against the Chargers, Calvin Ridley, Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key, Xavier Woods. So Xavier Woods, a new situation there. Additional run time for Kevin Winston, it would seem, as they continue to work with a makeshift secondary. Arden Key misses more games. Calvin Ridley has missed every game since getting injured against the Raiders, and Jeffrey Simmons is on pace to will miss officially his second game. The other bit of NFL news here is from the NFL. They have fined the Baltimore Ravens $100,000 for violating the league's injury report policy by incorrectly listing quarterback Lamar Jackson's practice participation a couple of weeks ago on October the 24th. I guess that was last Friday. By incorrectly listing his status. Obviously, that throws the betting markets off. It puts fans in a tizzy. It creates all kind of different problems and discussions. So the league has fined them $100,000 as they have cooperated with the full extent of the investigation. Okay. Gator Mike. It's our last call of the day. We got Mike.
Hey, Buck, how you doing? First off, I would gladly trade you my wonderful Florida Gator basketball team for your Indiana football team. You know, you said you'd love to have a top program. Done. So yeah, we'll make that happen.
Okay.
But yeah, I was almost going to do the Friday Fire thing. Was that Florida basketball does start on Monday to try to go back to back against Arizona, so it'll be a good game. So I'm on the same boat as Ross that college basketball is closely around the corner.
I am so excited for basketball season. I shouldn't be, because I know it's just going to end up being a 4-month headache for me. Or at least, I don't know. You root for a good program in Duke. Florida is obviously a defending national champion. And looks like they're going to be really good again, Florida. We'll see.
That's easily the top game on Monday, by the way. I think it's mostly cupcakes for top 25 schools, if I'm not mistaken, on the opening week.
I just want my basketball team to be good.
You even know who they open with?
Some less than school, but they've lost to the Indiana of Pennsylvania Mastodons at some point, under Tom Crean as a ranked team. So, no, that's not IUPUI, but it's one of these directional schools that the Mastodons. I remember losing to the Mastodons my last year in college and being furious at Tom Crean.
Were you in school for that Kentucky upset?
Yeah, that was that was my freshman year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was my freshman year. All right. If we had done the polls today, the polls would have been presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. But because I talk too much, it's ironic how much more I talk when Lucas and Robert aren't here.
Oh, it's a pain in the ass.
Bog me down.
It's a pain in the ass.
Get out of my way. I have so much more fun with these shows when I can just be, nobody's here to push back against me. I could just do whatever I want. It's delightful.
Okay.
Well done by Ross. Everybody will be back on Monday, and that's the only day that we will all three be back together because I am going on vacation. But we will talk about the results of the Titans and the Chargers. Potentially, we will have some fun things to talk about from the game. We have a giveaway as well.
We do, real quick before the show ends, be caller number 5 to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the NSC game tomorrow night at Geodis Park.
Caller number 5. I'll see you guys Monday.